Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hearthstone Trinity Series, a 7-week team showdown featuring some of the best 3-player rosters in competitive Hearthstone. It's time for week number 2. My name is TJ, and joining me to bring you guys week number 2, Nathan, that's Admirable Zamora. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. Caught week 1, and it was incredibly exciting to watch. I mean, there were blowout matches. There were matches that went the distance, and even a little bit of in between. So I'm really excited to see if there's been any adaptation to it, because these guys working together makes this a particularly special event.
Yeah, we'll see if the meta evolves for the Trinity Series over the course of the coming weeks. But let's go ahead and take a look at the format for the event. We've invited 8 teams who will compete in a 7-week round-robin stage, where every team will play all the other teams once. At the end of it all, the top 4 teams will advance to a live finals here at the ESL studios in Burbank, California, where they'll compete in a double elimination bracket for a prize pool of $150,000. Big chunk of change.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff you can buy with $150,000. Now, you will have to split some of that portion with your teammates, unless for some reason they have a weird contract and you get to take it all. It'd be kind of strange to me. But
yeah.
Either way, that's some serious cash that's up for grabs as these guys compete over the course of 8 weeks.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the standings after 1 week of play and give you guys an intro to some of the teams that we'll be seeing. G2, Tempo Storm, Luminosity, and compLexity all sit at the top of the tables with a 1-0 score. And Cloud9, Team Liquid, Virtus Pro, and Alliance have to battle it back this week after a loss in week number 1. There's the schedule for the upcoming weeks. You can see G2's win over Alliance last week was probably the highlight of the week for me. A 6-0 with Murloc Paladin, of all things.
Yeah, Murloc Paladin thought to be somewhere in the neighborhood of the 8th best deck, but if the cards line up right, it is certainly a force to be reckoned with.
And you can see there, as we round off the last few weeks of play, again, every team will just play every team once. So they're really vying for that top 4. Game score does matter, too. So we had a couple teams last week that brought it to a 6-5. On day 2 of week number 1, we had both matches go all the way the full distance. So hopefully we'll get to see some more of that today, because those bring for some exciting action. But let us know what you guys thought of week number 1 and what you guys are expecting or hoping for week number 2. You can tweet at ESL Hearthstone using the hashtag Trinity Series, and let us know how you feel about the matches going today. We got plenty of action today, with the first matchup being the one. This is one of the ones I know a lot of people are excited for, because a lot of people are fans of the players on those teams. It's Alliance versus compLexity. And Alliance, I feel, has a lot to prove this week.
They definitely do. I mean, after a disastrous week number 1 where they got swept by G2, now they have to bounce back and take on compLexity, and this is no slouch of a team with Super JJ Crane and Mr. Yagut on here. You have some different perspectives, but they all have a very similar play style where they love to play decks that can turn the corner very quickly and deliver a heavy amount of damage. And with the amount of training that Super JJ has been putting in alongside Life Coach, these are best of 11 matches. You have to pick up 6 wins. The first team to do that wins the set. That's a lot of time spent being 100% focused. So I think that having him there to be the clutch player when maybe you're getting a little bit fatigued, very important.
Yeah, definitely. And we saw them take a win over Cloud9 last week in a close series. But let's go ahead and take a look at the match format. Speaking of that, both teams will submit 9 unique decks, 1 for each of the classes. Before the match starts, the teams will ban 2 of the opposing team's decks. They'll be left with 7 remaining, in which they'll pick 6 of those 7 to play in the best of 11 match. They'll use a last hero standing format, which of course means that the winning deck will be forced to be queued up for the next game, whereas the team that has the losing deck, that deck will be eliminated and no longer available for play throughout the entire match. So adds a little bit more depth to sort of the deck selection throughout the course of the match.
Yeah, a little bit more momentum takes place during the last hero standing portion, because if a team manages to win against an unfavored matchup, what do you do next? Because ideally the deck that you queued up into that one is going to be your strongest matchup unless it's sacrificing too much, which we saw some people go against the grain of that in week 1.
Sure, yeah. I feel like a lot of players lost momentum because of that pick order. But let's go ahead and take a look at picks and bans. Those 9 class icons represent the 9 unique decks. First bans are in. It's Shaman. For both teams, that's going to be banned away. No real surprise here, Admirable. Shaman tends to be the widely regarded as the strongest deck in Hearthstone currently.
Right. I mean, so much of the Shaman is based on their draw and their potential. A lot of it's taken away in terms of counterplay simply because their cards are so strong. But now Rogue being taken away from both teams, and this is a big nod to the play that both of these teams have in terms of Rogue. Ostkaka, an exceptional Rogue player. He actually piloted that part of his lineup to a World Championship victory. And on compLexity's side, Mr. Yagut and Super JJ are very known for being prominent Rogue players. And Crane has a certain mind that can come into that as well. I mean, he's just absolutely fantastic when it comes to putting together these little pieces. So this is both a respect ban and a fact that Rogue is going to be strong versus the remainder of wide classes.
Yeah, definitely. And we can see that Rexar is going to be the class that both teams exclude. So that's their own choice. They chose not to play Rexar after seeing those bans. So that's no surprise. Last week, every single player or every single team chose not to play Rexar. So maybe we'll see him in weeks to come if control decks start to get a little bit too greedy and Rexar is there to keep them in their place. But let's go and take a look at Alliance. Each player will pilot 2 of the decks. But keep in mind that even though a player is piloting a deck, the team is working together and communicating as a team to get these matches done. So Ostkaka will be on Warlock and Priest, Orange on Warrior and Mage, and Powder will be on Druid and Paladin.
And honestly, when you look at the way that those decks are distributed, each one of those players has a class that they're kind of practiced with right now. When I say kind of practiced, what I mean is they're playing it a ton and they're very comfortable piloting it. And you look at compLexity side, Super JJ going to be on Priest and on Mage, 2 of the very long game-oriented classes that practice alongside Life Coach, I imagine influencing some of that. Mr. Yagut going to be on Pirate Warrior, a deck I know he's been playing a ton of lately. And with him and Paladin, that just kind of makes sense to me. The fact that he's a very strong combo player and likes to play unique decks. Where Crane is going to be on Warlock and Druid, where I feel mechanical play is going to be a heavy influence here. So these guys being on the pilot may not be a very deliberate decision in terms of how important it is since they are working together. But when it comes to the final decision, I would say you want the strongest player ideally for the class.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, sometimes muscle memory when you take a long time to make a decision and you need to move quickly. You know, having those plays already queued up in your head, so to speak, makes it a little bit more easier when you're moving through the plays. So, also, I feel like when you're playing a deck, when you're the person actually playing a deck, sometimes you can feel out the plays a little bit easier. But it's always nice to have your teammates there to back you up. And it's going to be cool today also to see sort of the team dynamic between some of these teams, how it changes from week to week. You know, some teams last week were really quiet. Maybe they realized that they need to talk more. Some teams might have been talking too much. But let's go ahead and get into game number 1 here of the first match of the day. It's a Paladin Mirror right off the bat.
Yeah, I caught the Paladin Mirror match with Cloud9
and compLexity
last week, yeah. And something that was really interesting to listen to was Firebat's perspective on the matchup, where it had gotten to about turn 9, and he had mentioned checkmate. And looking at the board state, I was like, man, I really don't know how compLexity gets out of this. I think they're right. The cycle was such an important factor of that deck, being able to find your anyfins can happen before your opponent did. Get those big Murloc swings. But the timing on when your anyfin comes out is also really important. If you're at too dangerous of a life total, you can kill yourself sometimes by using anyfin can happen in the wrong board state. So there are some end game setups, but for the most part, I would tend to say the matchup is fairly straightforward.
Yeah, there are some tech differences that you can make, or just deck choices. And you mentioned one is the cycle. Cloud9 ran a heavy cycle version, which I felt was better in the mirror. There's also some anti-aggro techs that you can make. And things like that. The choice of cycle, whether you run Acolytes of Pains or Loot Hoarders or Novice Engineers or a mixture of all 3 of them, those can really make a difference in the early game.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting opening hand for both sides of it, where Alliance's hand is a bit more reactive, I'd say, and compLexity is looking to drive the action both with Acolyte of Pain, with Barnes, and with True Silver Champion. The chip damage can be very important. And it's important because it's simply opening up anyfin turns. So this is a game that you're going to often see get to turn 10 and beyond. Very rarely is it going to end prior to that point. There are some situations where maybe Tyrion could force the issue, but outside of that, it is a pretty back and forth game.
Yeah, that's very true. We saw Cloud9 last week. They got some damage in early on, which allowed them to pressure Lethal with an anyfin that wasn't all of the Murlocs, which meant that they weren't in they weren't risking dying from an anything can happen from the other side because they knew that there weren't enough Murlocs in the pool for them to die from 30 damage. So that's a good point to make.
Yeah, this is an interesting spot, too. Last week, we heard Crane talking about how he didn't necessarily want to use the Paladin hero power on turn 2 to make that 1-1. And the fear of it was this play almost exactly, which was coin Acolyte. And it was on the other side where they had the coin, and they were fearing a turn 3 Acolyte from the opposition. Alliance was just in a similar spot. If they use hero power and now compLexity chooses to coin out this Acolyte of Pain, that's a pretty substantial threat. But they have Doomsayer for it, so it would only be one draw forced, and then they get to kind of rebuy some value and some tempo with that Doomsayer.
Yeah, one of the things that they talked about was, you know, do they really care? They actually ended up going with hero power anyway because they realized that if Alliance were to, you know, make a reaction to that play with Acolyte of Pain, they would be able to get ahead in the matchup in other ways. You know, that would be.
I believe it was Doomsayer as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, you know, they realized that it's really not worth it. The odds of them having Acolyte of Pain are low enough to where, even if they do have it, they have a reactionary play. And so Alliance comes to the same conclusion, and they go ahead and hero power, and now they do have the Doomsayer, should they so choose. Doomsayer also has uses in this matchup. It can be played on like turn 7 to interrupt the turn 8 play. It can be played later on in the game when you expect your opponents to play, say, like a first anyfin to try and take some damage away from your face and heal for 7. You know, there's a lot of different ways that can be used.
It's surprising how powerful the card is in matchups that are not necessarily tempo oriented, where it acts as more of a disruption effect than it does as a value effect. Now, sometimes it has to be a value effect, and in this situation, I imagine Alliance is very much deliberating over this. They clearly don't necessarily want to play the Doomsayer to have the value of disruption, but think about how much they're sacrificing if they don't play it. That means the Acolyte's getting 2 draws, and 2 draws means that compLexity is closer to those anything can happen. It's closer to their Murlocs.
Speaking of anything can happen, compLexity has picks up one of their own. But they were on the coin, so theirs will come second. Sometimes it doesn't really matter. Of course, it depends on a lot of factors. How many Murlocs have died that game? You know, if another player's played, whoa, both anything can happen.
Yeah, the only fear here is that Alliance's hand doesn't have any card draw, and there's not really any value potential in hand. Everything is pretty reactive at this point, alongside 2 dead cards until turn 10, and that's assuming that they have Murlocs dead at that point, or that there's enough dead to make that card useful. Where compLexity can start driving the action almost immediately. They have Barnes, they have True Silver Champion, they have their own Doomsayer to react. This game is building to a position where Alliance is going to need to pick up some key draws if they want to get back in this game. They are very far behind given the hand context.
Yeah, it's very true. One thing that I want to point out, Mr. Gagoot recently hit top 10 legend using Murloc Paladin on ladder. And of course, ladder's a much different beast than a last hero standing team tournament format. But at least in that deck list that I saw, he wasn't even running Tyrion. No Tyrion Forging.
I think a lot of that is to the nod of ladder, where Tyrion is just not good versus Shaman.
It's pretty slow.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And Shaman they just kill you before then if you have an 8-cost card in your hand instead. So you have to put a few more tech choices in there, I think, to fight that matchup. In this format, they can ban that away. And when that happens, and you're going to be fighting against Druids, and you're going to be fighting against Mages, and you're going to be fighting against Warlocks, you know, there's only one aggro deck that's in there, and that's the Warrior build. Tyrion looks a lot better in those situations.
Yeah. It's definitely true. He had like a Mistress of Mixtures in there instead. A 1-mana 2/2 instead of good old Tyrion. But hey, it works. He reached top 10 legend with that very list, so must have been successful in some way. Alliance picks up another War Leader, so of course adding to the pool of Murlocs here. So far we've only had 1 War Leader die. It's good to keep track just because of the fact that there's so many Murlocs dying on each side of the board. Also, something that we saw factor in a lot last week was the addition of Finja to these Murloc Paladin builds. Finja, especially when both sides are playing Finjas, once you get into sort of both Finjas being played, the first or second anything can happens, you can get there's opportunities where you can get 0 charge Murlocs from anything can happen. So that's math that you definitely need to do if you're a Murloc Paladin player.
Yeah, there's definitely some low roll opportunity in there when you have that extra Murloc in the mix. And that's a War Leader picked up for compLexity now. Their hand is just looking so much stronger than Alliance's.
It really is. Just more options. More options outside of playing a Murloc on a board and passing.
Could have played a Wild Pyromancer on the board.
They could have played a Wild Pyromancer on the board.
One of the big problems is that they're just having to feed minions to the True Silver Champion right now. And when that's the compromise you have to make, that puts the responding player very far ahead in terms of card economy. And that card economy eventually means that they're the ones driving the action. It may take a little bit longer, but again, the chip damage is relevant, and especially looking at Alliance's hand. If they have to spend the rest of these resources handling what compLexity throws at them, it's almost a smooth sail to victory.
So they can clear here with Bluegill Warrior and save their charge of True Silver Champion. But it looks like they're just going to go with Barnes. See if they can pull out.
Thinking of a big one. That's a pretty big one.
That's pretty darn good.
I mean, imagine if Alliance draws True Silver Champion at this point. And now you just go, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But Ivory Knight picked up, maybe this gets them some gas. Lay on Hands, I think, would be a very big draw for them at this point.
Yeah, just to get some additional cycle.
Yep. They just need a way to pick up extra cards. They have so limited options.
Yeah. One thing that playing Ivory Knight on 30 health does is it conceals your choice, which could be a big deal in the long run. Your opponent will have absolutely no idea what spell you picked.
Solemn Vigil.
Yeah, Solemn Vigil. They have a Consecrate plus a Wild Pyromancer in hand, so they pick up an Equality, and all of a sudden they're pretty close to being able to use Solemn Vigil.
Yeah, and what TJ means by concealing the information is when Ivory Knight heals you, your opponent gets to see how much it healed for. But if you're at 30, it doesn't heal you. So they have no information of what the cost was on the card that they took. So that could be literally any Paladin spell at this point.
Yeah, could be. Could be a secret.
I guess it couldn't be like a non-standard Paladin spell, but...
Muster for battle.
I digress.
They just rip a muster for battle. Ah, sweet! Finja, I think, is a great pickup.
I'm not sure they want to play it, honestly. And something to think about is we do have 2 War Leaders dead at this point. So with the Finja draw, let's see where they want to head.
Let me think.
If you play Finja, we should double trade for sure.
You should. I don't think the double trade is super necessary because we also have. Just keep in mind we also have Rag and 2 more Murlocs in the hand. Like, how bad is it really if it's the equality consequence here?
I think it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I would double trade.
Okay, I can see it. You're basically saying if the Finja pulls the Murloc, play our Murloc spot, right? Because...
Interesting. We can use, like, not play minions.
Yeah. I mean, we just sell them here.
We played a Solemn that we just drew.
Yeah,
So
of
they
course.
didn't know about our mystery card.
Yeah. I mean, there's no other play, right? We just play Solemn.
Yeah, as far as I can see.
Help to draw any AoE, like equality or cons.
Are we going to your power?
Nope.
No.
Can we play some Murlocs now?
interesting. Because when he can't equality, as you say, right?
Yeah.
Well, but equality consecrate is still, they all have 2 health, right? I guess it's only equality consecrate, but still, I mean...
It's not true. It's not true, right? Oh, yeah, it's true.
It is, but it's only, it plays around pyro equality, it doesn't play around equality consecrate. What if we just go with the Ivory Knight? Or even weaker, just like a weaker flame. Hero power.
I think that we give him a way to good equality. I would like to go in now with the Mercs. We pressure him as well.
You like the work.
Move quickly.
If he
Like
can,
we force him to have equality cons.
if he has EQ cons, we lose, right?
No. Because we
Make a play.
can Doomsayer on turn 9.
You can do the Murlocs, It's not the worst. You shouldn't have attacked with Finja. It was terrible.
Wait, why not?
Because now, if you attack with the Finja, you give him a chance to remove it. Like, you don't want to attack with the Finja.
Yeah, but then he takes a lot of damage, doesn't he?
I think it's just the quality cons that we're afraid of, right? I like attacking with Finja. If we're going for this line, I like attacking, honestly.
Like, we force him to equality anyways, right? If he, like, how else does he clear this? He needs to choose the Consecrate, then he takes, like, so much damage.
That's a much different complexity than what we heard last week. Last week, they were a lot more quiet. They were, agreeing on just about every play. And this is... They're having trouble coming to a decision here.
Well, it's a very complicated turn. I mean, obviously their big fear is an equality clear. So this play is designed to force something from Alliance. However, the debate of which is better in the situation where there isn't necessarily a clear, is it better to attack with Finja or keep it concealed? So Crane and Mr. Yagut are in favor of the pressure and trying to force the answers more so, where Super JJ is more inclined to play for value. But they've bought themselves 6 extra points of damage now, but how relevant is that towards the endgame plan? I think that's the question that Super JJ has in mind, and frankly, I can see his point of view.
Yeah, he probably thinks that it's more important to get more Murlocs out of the deck than it is to, say, get an extra, this would be 6 damage now with the Finja if you count both of these attacks. So it's going to be interesting to see how that decision plays in, considering both Crane and Mr. Yagut think it's that the play was fine. But now faced with some other options. Again, they were debating on Ivory Knight last turn as well, instead of making the pressure with the Murlocs. So I can imagine that that might be the play this turn.
Well, the Ragnaros Light Lord certainly looking appealing, and if it heals the Finja, I think you're in pretty good shape. If it heals yourself, you still got an 8/8 on board. Granted, Aldor Peacekeeper is a very heavy part of Alliance's range at this point. A lot of those cards have been in hand for quite a while, and they've drawn quite a bit. So the thing for me is now that this Finja has been revealed, I feel like they need to follow through on that pressure. And this is what Super JJ was trying to avoid, was a situation like this.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and take a listen into Alliance to see how they're going to navigate this upcoming tough turn.
Okay. So, well, I mean, we're always going to equality here, right? Do we ever go equality cons?
Equality cons, we have 3 mana, so we have Acolyte left. That way we save Pyromancer in our hand. If we go...
We can also go...
Pyro equality, we have 5 mana left, which means we can go Acolyte Hero Power.
We can go Wild Pyro equality, Vigil, and Acolyte, right?
No, then Acolyte has to die. Oh yeah, actually we can. Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Wait, how many cards do we...
I mean,
yeah,
it's fine. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't even matter.
Cards, but wait. Like, is it for sure?
I mean, it's either equality cons, Acolyte.
I like having the Consecration in hand more than I like having the Pyro in hand too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's better clearing War leaderboards. Yeah, just do it.
Oh, we can also draw like Bluegill.
Yeah, you can draw Doomsayer as well or something, so play that.
Oh yeah.
Bluegill or Acolyte?
Let's play the Bluegill, right?
I think so.
I guess.
It makes there anything better though. Next
Yeah,
turn.
but as you said, it's only...
Can they kill us next turn?
If they have second Bluegill here, I think they can.
So it's Finja, 3 War Leaders, 2 Bluegill.
But wait, if we have 3 Bluegills, yeah, we actually... If they play a second Bluegill here, the MFN is 24 damage. We don't have lethal.
Yeah.
By not playing double comes there.
How does he deal with the...
No, he deals with the War Leader. With the Doomsayer, because we played 3 War Leaders. So we need to play double Doomsayer.
We have Divine Shield.
We'll say if we just play the
Oh, you're right, because he gets to attack twice. Yeah, double Doomsday, of course.
yeah, double Doomsday, otherwise he can clear with anything. Or thing. I don't think we need them afterwards anyways. And also we can top deck Solemn, get exactly 5 discount, we can play with anything.
So the thing to think about here is Alliance was deliberating over the card draw and the number of cards that would have been in hand. The reason they said that the card draw doesn't matter is because if they burn, they already have their 2 most important cards at this stage, which are both anything can happen. So the basic idea is just to dig as much as possible. The Bluegill is here to try to set up the anythings in the following turn, and compLexity once again is trying to force Alliance's hand by making a set of plays like this. This is a very aggressive use of resources, but when they land an anything next turn, they're getting back 3 War Leaders, 2 Bluegills, and a Finja. So they will have a full board, and they've already seen an equality. So their game plan is to win off the back of that.
Yeah, and even then, equality isn't a full clear because of the interaction between the Bluegills and the War Leaders. So equality consecrate would, wouldn't even clear the board. So what they're trying to do is protect their board enough to where they won't die from anything, and their own anything can set up for... They can have a clear board going into their own anything turn. Now, I don't think the double Doomsayer was necessary because there's only been 2 Bluegills. So the Divine Shield, they would have to trade in the first Bluegill. Oh, no, they were right, actually.
Yeah.
You trade in the first Bluegill, then get 2 Bluegills back so they'd have 1 attack and then an attack on the Doomsayer. Yep. So that's actually a really intelligent play by both of them. And Crane realized it right at the end. He's like, actually, yeah, we do need to play both Doomsayers. That's the only way we'll get protected.
Yep, so second equality forced out from Alliance. But compLexity, are they starting to be put on the back foot? They do have to be worried about an anything at this point. And it's really difficult for them to play a minion and have that happen because Alliance is on the verge of winning the game here. And if they're just going to play anything right now, they're not facing lethal here, I don't think, unless it's... So the True Silver attacks into Bluegill Warrior. They drop to 6 life. They trade in their other Bluegill. That would then be 3 Bluegills dead with 3 War Leaders.
So 4 War Leaders. Because they'd kill the War Leader that just got played onto the board.
No, they wouldn't kill it because they need to kill the other Bluegill first.
Oh, they need to kill the other Bluegill.
I think they do. Either
what
way,
if they kill the... Okay. Well, let's see. Let's see Alliance's words on it.
We clear all the War Leaders. They have 4 on board. If we face tank the first one.
So maybe we should True Silver. We should probably True Silver the Bluegill and send our Bluegill into 7/5 to get another Bluegill back. Yeah.
So we get 3 Bluegills.
Maybe that's better,
Yeah, True Silver the Bluegill. Then sacrifice Bluegill into 7/5.
Are you sure this is better?
Yes.
Yeah, just do it fast. I don't know if it's better, but I think it's better. Obviously, if they have second anything, it's just over anyway.
Or True Silver.
Let's do off lethal.
Oh, we have lethal.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy. Well done, yeah, good.
Well, that was some tough math there at the end, trying to figure out exactly how to play that last turn. But Yagut spots the not really creative lethal, but an interesting lethal nonetheless for compLexity to take game 1.
Yeah, you're not necessarily thinking about Finja providing extra damage at that point.
Yeah.
But they're very aware of what's left in the build. So on the final turn, the most damage that Alliance could have done was 24 points of damage. No matter how they slice it, the best they can get back is 3 Bluegills and 3 War Leaders. That's the absolute maximum that they can get back from anything. So 2 damage off lethal. You heard them say, well, we're dead a second for anything anyway. So when they have to leave the Finja up, then their hope is that compLexity just doesn't have any damage in hand, which would be Consecration, True Silver Champion, or the other anything can happen at that point. But that was really, I think, the best that Alliance could have gotten in that spot. I mean, their opening hand was not very strong. They ended up picking up a lot of card draw, but they weren't able to utilize all of it. If they had had that a little bit earlier, they might have come away with that game.
Yeah, they got pretty close, and that's usually how the anything mirrors go. But that's going to give compLexity a big leg up as we move forward in this series, considering Murloc Paladin is really strong on this format with a few bans. So now, again, it's going to be on Alliance to try and find a counter. to that deck. You can see they still have all 6 of their wins left to go before they're to take the match. So we'll see what they're going to decide to use to go up against Anyfin. If they do have Pirate Warrior, this might be the time to break it out because a lot of their other decks can be pretty susceptible to that Murloc Paladin.
And that's really the difference between the tournament experience and the ladder experience here is when you're playing on ladder, you're going to run into a lot of shamans and a lot of warriors, a disproportionate amount in relation to how a tournament format will work. So that's what's making Anyfin such a force in this tournament is there's a wide range of decks your opponents have to play, and it happens to line up well versus those builds. It just lines up not so well versus the Shaman and Warrior builds that are out there, and I think it's one of the reasons we've been seeing it led so much here at the Trinity Series, and also have a fantastic success rate thus far.
Yeah. Also, Rogue is one of the decks that preys on a lot of the the greedier style control decks. That's why a lot of players are leaving up the Warrior in favor of the Rogue, just because of the fact that Rogue against a lot of the decks that say would counter Murloc Paladin is fantastic. So we'll have to see if that's going to make a difference in these matchups, whether or not the Warrior is going to be able to take wins. The one thing that we saw last week was Jade Druid actually had a lot of success. There was multiple teams that took a lot of games with Jade Druid. Jade Druid seems to be sort of that wild card deck that is weak to a lot of the aggro decks, but it was the weakest to Shaman. And with that off the table, Jade Druid can do some crazy things similar to Murloc Paladin.
Very much similar. The fact that it's got this very large inevitability engine, if you can't burst it out of the game or find a way to nab so much tempo that they can't recover, it's difficult to do that with slower builds. And so because of that, Jade Druid is a very similar position to Murloc Paladin, where it just got a lot of endgame stuff going on, and it's difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
And when those Jades start hitting 5/5, that's when it starts getting really scary, because some of the cards at that point are putting 8, 9, 10 power on board for a nominal amount of mana. And control decks aren't built to handle those sorts of board states. They're built to choke your opponent's resources and then rely on one heavy threat to do the big lifting. You cannot do that against a deck where half of their cards are just 7/7s.
Yeah. Or more.
Yeah, or more.
And they keep getting bigger. So no surprise here. It is going to be Alliance queuing up the Warrior. We saw last week in Alliance's match versus G2. G2 swept them with Murloc Paladin, and Alliance waited a long time before they queued up the Warrior deck against the Paladin. They wanted to try and save the Warrior deck for a better matchup. They didn't respect the Paladin deck enough, and they waited a really long time to queue it. I mean, I guess it didn't matter in the long run because it beat all of their decks. But I'm happy to see them now queue up the Pirate Warrior right away instead of waiting.
Yeah, I think it's the strongest deck they have remaining versus Murloc Paladin.
For sure.
Again, this deck will typically struggle against early game aggression, but this opening hand from Alliance could spell trouble. These are the kinds of hands where complexity can get enough time.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. The one thing that they do have going for them is the Murloc Paladin is very slow regardless. Unless it gets a crazy hand where they can pressure you early on with Murlocs and take control of the board, like on turn 4, turn 5, then they're still susceptible to a Pirate Warrior that doesn't have the greatest of starts. Because once weapons come out later on in the game, it's really hard for Paladins to stabilize while also putting together a game plan to win. So usually the Warriors have a lot of time. So even with a mediocre hand, they can still come out on top. But that's not even a mediocre hand.
Yeah,
that's just a bad hand.
It's pretty bad. I mean, they do have a 2-drop and a 3-drop, but these are not the starts they wanted for. Now, that makes the hand about 10-fold better. Suddenly, this hand that looks a little bit slow turns into a big power swing style of deck where 1 or 2 key turns is going to be the difference between them winning or losing. From Complexity's side, their win condition really isn't Murlocs in this situation. It's resource control. If they can get Alliance to a low amount of cards and then find a big heal, that's the turn where they basically win the game. Alliance is just going to have trouble drawing the damage to end. But so far they have Fiery War Axe. If they can land the Bloodsail Cultist on it, that represents 12 damage. They have 6 damage from Leroy. That's 18 damage. If they can find those turns, it means that they need to deal 12 points of minion damage to win the game.
Which is pretty easy to come by. But let's go ahead and see what Alliance is thinking through these early turns.
It's way better against Doomsayer.
The only problem is we don't get to play Bloodsail Cultists.
We get it in the future.
Yeah,
So
Like, we're not playing it anyway next turn.
yeah,
Warax.
yeah.
Warax and probably don't hit.
Yeah, I guess they don't hit.
I think go through coin 3-drop if we hit.
Just hero power, I guess.
I was thinking the same.
Mm-hmm.
Bluegill will be good when we get the Finja out, right? Like the turn we kill something. It can even help it kill something as well.
Yeah.
It's just hero
I
power.
like the hero power.
Reporting for duty.
Yeah, it makes no sense to play.
Oh, I love it. So you just play Celsius Captain. Or you could play Bloodsail Raider. I mean, we save
Maybe
patches
so
for...
if we go Bloodsail Raider now, then we can go Patches Cultist next turn.
Yeah, we save patches for Cultist next turn.
Yeah.
So it's basically Southsea or Bloodsail.
I'm not sure which is better. I mean, I guess Bloodsail is not that bad.
Like what punishes the
I mean, nothing.
captain?
It's
I
just
think
like
I think I like the captain better. Like Bloodsail Raider just plays straight into the Aldor kind of turn.
Yeah, but
And,
I
like,
mean, it's...
Southsea Captain sits up better for the patches next turn.
Alder's not good for them, really.
Yeah, Alder's not that good.
I guess it's not that
And against
great.
everything else, like against Trucial, they take more damage and
So you would like
slightly better card. I think I would Bloodsail
so
here.
And you hit the 1/1, right?
do I hit the 1/1?
No, probably not. No,
Okay, no, fine.
he's not gonna coin comp this. I guess like Bluegill, but I think that's fine.
So some interesting discussion there. One thing to point out, of course, is the patches draw. Fortunate for Alliance, but they're holding it on in their hand to, either one, get value out of the Bloodsoul Cultist, which is their plan for next turn, or even Southsea Captain, should they need it. But the hit into the 1/1, it's whether or not they want to trade 3 damage now to protect 5 damage, or hold on to that 3 damage and hope that their 5 damage connects anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about on the turn, and you can hear the amount of discussion going on with the aggro deck versus with the Anyfin deck. The Anyfin deck was mostly about just what's the big swing turn. But with the aggro deck, they have to plan this right. If they do anything wrong, they can sacrifice so much that they don't have the damage to end the game. And so every single turn for Alliance is about hedging bets. And here, the consideration for hitting into the 1/1 meant that they sacrificed the patches, which will sometimes take away from the ability to use Bloodsail Cultist. It'll take away from some of the value of Southsea Captain. Is that value worth it? You heard them mention that they didn't think Aldor was that big a deal. One of the reasons is because they have Bloodsail Cultist along the Fiery War Axe. If it turns into a value battle, I think Alliance can win that. However, if it turns into a pace, that's where compLexity can be favored, is controlling that board as long as possible and getting to a late game turn.
Yeah, especially the Finja turn is going to be the real big deal here, because as they were talking about, Finja can allow them to not only clear what's on the board with Finja, but also bring out another Bluegill, potentially clear another minion, and then all of a sudden they have a big board, whereas Alliance doesn't. So if they can get to that point, like you mentioned, if they can last as long as they possibly can without taking too much damage, they're going to be in a pretty good, decent spot. But Alliance last turn, they only talked very briefly about whether or not it was okay to hit the 1/1. They briefly mentioned Bluegill Warrior, and Osaka said, I think that's fine. But they do sacrifice 5 damage. But let's see how they want to navigate this turn.
Yeah, of course.
It's a difference.
It's actually wait no, with patches it's actually only 1 healing up to, so
Yeah.
you hit for sure.
Yeah, I didn't think of that either. Powder's right.
Coin. Yeah, coin Finja, I guess. I mean, at least we get to do damage.
Southsea Captain.
I think we have to.
We're not getting a better Southsea Captain than this. That Finn is gonna fuck us up.
We have to deal damage. I mean, we could play Fraudy. We could play Fraudy.
Honestly, it's not even that bad for us.
Huh?
We're pretty close to Waco. It's honestly not even that bad for us.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we always play Southsea.
Okay.
Yeah.
and Smark.
Yes. I mean, he still kept 2 cards. I don't really know what card.
I guess you keep cons. Maybe you keep pyro. Maybe.
So the first thing that comes into my mind, attacks the 3/3 with Truthor.
That's what I'm not sure about. Because if we don't get a charger, what do we do?
Let me
So you say we are taking 2 patches first? The life on...
I think the first one is, we lose 1 life on Finja, but we get more options, right? I think this is
Okay, we are taking 2 patches.
Yeah, I like to revise after trading. Come on, give us a charger.
Okay,
Yes.
so do we Truthor now?
I think we do, right? I don't think we die, and then we can even solemn at the end.
Yeah.
We have 14 maximum damage. She has double 8, so we have, they can actually have 13 damage max, right?
I mean, double charge and double.
Well, we talked about the big swing turn there, and that's about as big as it gets. They draw a few cards, they get the Murlocs out of their deck, they clear the board and build their own board. Now they just need some heals followed up, and they do have the Wicker Flame Burn Bristle.
Well, the other thing, too, is that Alliance's hand is a little bit dry. And if you look at their damage, say they got full damage over the next 2 turns, which would be 4 from this Fiery War Axe, 3 from the one in hand, and then the Leroy for 6 more. That's 1 point of damage off a lethal from their perspective, and that quite literally could have been the patches draw. It could have been protecting the South Sea... the name
The Bloodsail Raider.
Bloodsail Raider, yeah, I don't know why I want to call it South. Bloodsail Raider, protecting it for that 1 turn may have bought them that extra damage. The littlest tiny things in this game could mean the difference between winning or losing from Alliance's perspective. Now, of course, the patches was a disaster draw, but you've seen them keep cool since then. Well, how can they keep cool now? The game is starting to slip away.
Yeah. As soon as compLexity draws a major heal, the game is over. And even then, Alliance still needs to piece together enough damage to find lethal. And they're actually going to go ahead and clear off the Finja. They don't want to risk pulling even more Murlocs out of the deck, even though both Bluegill Warriors are gone. Ooh, a Ragnos Lightlord picked up. If they can get to turn 8...
If they can get turn 8, it's smooth sailing.
Yeah.
And honestly, their hand looks very well equipped to do so.
Yeah.
They will have an option to solemn again this turn if they make the trades as it appears, which would be, of course, True Silver into the 3/4 Frothing Berserker right now. Trade over the War Leader from the South Sea Captain. Let's find out what they're going to do.
So yeah, probably has Arknight Reaper, right? Yeah.
And when Burn Bristle heals us for like 10 health.
So we Pyromancer and Wicker Flame or Solemn?
I think we definitely Wicker Flame. Don't you?
Yeah, definitely Wicker Flame. I think we Pyro since he might have minion.
Close. The draw can also give us heal. It's very close, right? I would play the Solemn. I would actually play the Solemn, I think. Then Wicker Flame. Oh, yes.
Wow!
Is it just War Axe?
Yeah.
If we upgrade, we can draw
No, you don't.
like a Frothing Berserker. That's pretty much it.
Huh? What?
Oh yeah, no, it doesn't matter because we're never Leroying next turn. Yeah, it's just War Axe hit it. Be sad.
Yep. Hope to draw. I don't know what to hope to draw here. Court Run Elite, I guess.
And then heal for the rest. We have Tyrion and Rag next to it.
But we can get we can get Doomsday, right? How bad is that?
It's not even that bad because we get to play an 8 drop next turn.
I would just forbidden healing for 14. Like, what can he do?
Can somehow.
If he goes for bot, we have Tyrion.
I would say frothing, right? Like frothing, I think that's the only way.
I think the Barnes comes down here. Yeah, good. You will have enough heal.
Yeah.
Acolyte as well done.
Just play Barnes first and see what happens.
Tonight, a tale of
It's Doomsayer, whatever. Just play Rag and win.
Pyro.
Acolyte.
Yeah, Acolyte.
quickly.
We even heal for 2 now. I mean, this guy's here at 17.
Yeah, actually, yeah. We just want to demolish some, get back to 30 HP.
Guys, I think they already have nightmares.
A handful of winning plays for compLexity. The start from Alliance, just not quick enough.
Yep, just not getting it done. And you can see compLexity's having a little bit of fun with it. I think morale has been... maybe they were grumpy. I don't know. It's like nighttime over there in Europe, but maybe they were grumpy early on in the first match. That's why they were having a little bit of disagreements on some of those plays. But now that they're starting to wreck some warrior decks with Murloc Paladin, they're feeling a lot better.
Yeah, this is the nail in the coffee right here. If pick which one you want. This could have been the D-Light damage one or the heal 8. Mm-hmm. The game is over. Yeah. And honestly, it ended on the Finja turn. The Finja turn was really a big one where they got the charger. Now, granted, it's a very high % chance to get the charging minion. I believe it's 67% or 66.66, repeating, of course, % chance to happen. But the point is, the whole game was dedicated to finding one swing turn. And the Murlocs actually played an important role in this one, but you just watched draw after draw after draw. The Wicker Flame Burn Bristle played a huge role in that game in stabilizing. The True Silver Champion bought them the time they needed. The Murlocs bought the tempo they needed. Everything came together for compLexity at that final stage, and it largely was in part in their keep and also in their sequencing.
Yeah, Alliance now is 0-8 so far in the Trinity Series against Murloc Paladin.
Yeah, so that's a rough one.
That's going to be pretty tough. But we'll see if Alliance can overcome the strength of Murloc Paladin in game number 3. We'll be right back. More Trinity Series right after this.
Who's that pro?
Dude, I don't know when they're broadcasting our comms, so like I imagine after we spend a minute, they've got to be like, let's take a listen in on what Luminosity is thinking.
It's Chucky!
Dude, I don't know when they're broadcasting our comms, so like I imagine after we spend a minute, they've got to be like, let's take a listen in on what Luminosity is thinking.
everybody, and welcome back to the Hearthstone Trinity Series presented by ESL and Twitch. We hope you enjoyed our new segment, Who's That Pro? I hope to see more of those in the future. But my name's CJ, joined once again by That's Admirable. Big story here. Can Alliance finally defeat a Murloc Paladin deck?
I don't know. They're 0-8 so far in 8 games versus Murloc Paladin. What is going on? There's a world champion on this team. Orange been killing it over the past couple of years. He just won Seat Story Cup. Powder, a veteran of the game at this point, he just got picked up to Alliance. Strong, consistent play. What's going on?
I don't know. I mean, Alliance was one of the favorites to win this whole thing. You mentioned Osaka. Orange also, besides the Seat Story Cup win, second at WESG, a top 8 at the Malaysia Major in December. He gets this meta, obviously, because he's had so much success with it over the course of the last 2 months since Mean Streets of Gadgetzan has been released. And Powder has been a practice partner for both these guys for a long time. You know, he's been sort of one of those guys that's just been on the verge of success himself, and you know, being on a team with successful players will only push him in the right direction. So now they're going to go with a
Kung Fu Druid.
I don't know. This is weird because there's a Kun. There's also a Curator, which you know,
Draw in Malagos.
It's in Draw Malagos. Yeah, I wonder what else isn't.
Well, I don't think there's a Murloc in here.
Yeah, a Beast. I guess there could be Enchanted Raven. I mean, there could be.
I think it's just Draw a Dragon, honestly.
Maybe it's just to get the Malagos when they need it. Because if you go with the Kun,
wait. That's Dark Arakoa, which means that this is Cthulhu.
Cthulhu with a Curator.
So what beast would Cthulhu deck play?
I'm drawing a blank.
I am too. Now I'm really interested.
Because when you get to the Aviana Kun stage, Curator can just be a guaranteed 1-mana way for you to get a 1-mana Malagos, which would make sense. You know?
Or just draw a card with Azure Drake as well.
Yeah, or just
2 mana draw a card at that point.
Yeah, I don't know. This is pretty interesting, but I do like the deck choice. We saw Tempo Storm have success with a Kun Aviana Cthulhu build in the prior weeks.
Is that a mitten that Powder's wearing right now?
It's just a really long sweater arm.
It's stylish either way. Powder's always been a stylish guy. You know that?
Yeah, let me play Hearthstone with some mittens. Let's go ahead and see exactly what Powder's thinking as he bites his mitten.
I would go with Hero Power and say the Wrath for one more turn, but
yeah,
drawing a card is somewhat tempting. What do you think, Osaka?
It's pretty close, right?
Yeah, I think so too. But as you said, like they have to be the one that puts pressure on us, right? So if we just can make sure that they don't snowball, which this Wrath on like a War Leader kind of makes sure that they don't.
No.
That's how I see it, at least.
I mean, we can go Hero Power Wrath into Azure Drake.
I would Hero Power.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, sure. If they don't play a 3-drop, then we can cycle the Wrath anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no 3-drop.
No.
Yeah, just Hero Power, I guess.
It's just Hero Power, whatever.
Wow, growth is pretty good.
Play that.
We don't do anything else, right? We never coin anything.
No.
Well.
They hit the growth, Admirable.
It's a big one.
Baits and growths.
Baits and growths. Muzzy, very prominent ladder player. When you see him play Druid, he has a very distinct ritual. As he mulligans his Druid hand, you have to chant Baits and growths. Baits and growths. Draw those innervates, get that extra mana. Draw those wild growths, get that extra mana.
In Alliance, especially with a sort of combo-oriented deck like this one, we assume that it's combo. I mean, we see the Kun and we see the Cthulhu buffing cards.
Pretty shocked if it wasn't.
Yeah. Mana is probably the most limiting factor. Mana and card draw. And there's the Naturalize. That's what we saw in Temple Storm's deck as well. It's a cheap removal It also has the added benefit, especially coupled with Colite Oracles, which we also saw in the build from Tempo Storm, of against the more control-oriented decks like Reno Mage, Reno Warlock, it can force cards to be overdrawn from their opponents. So definitely a card that you wouldn't expect to see, but a card that, in this type of format where you're going to play against a lot of control decks has that little bit of added benefit.
Yeah, you would look at a build like this and go, how on earth does this beat an aggro deck? Well, the answer is you ban it. You ban Shaman away, and it's not meant to beat those decks. There's a chance it will with the number of taunts that it has, but its main focus is to tackle late-game scenarios. And they've failed twice already. They failed with the Paladin Mirror. They failed with their aggressive build, taking on complexity. This is one of their last chances, I think. I think if they don't pick up a win with this Druid deck, they are in serious trouble of seeing another 6-0.
Yeah, they do have a pretty good curve here. They have a curve that can pressure, is the thing. They've got Darker Akoa into Ancient of War. And while Paladins are good at neutralizing big threats, if you keep providing threat after threat after threat, then you may get to a point where you can just overwhelm them. And if they don't have the full clear, then you might be in a good spot.
It just so happens to be that Druid is very good at providing big threat after big threat after big threat. And so it's sort of a game of chicken on the resources where, here's my thing, can you answer it? Here's my thing, can you answer it? Once complexity can't answer it, that's where they can be in trouble. But so far, it's looking like their hand can check it. Let's see how Alliance is going to handle this upcoming turn.
Do something. I mean, if we had an innervate now, that would be pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. If we just attack one of his 1/1s and play another Arakoa, he has a clean kill on our Arakoa.
Yeah, I don't like that.
So...
But I don't really like any of the plays here.
Azure Drake?
I mean, Azure Drake seems okay, but he just kills it with his weapon, right?
Yeah, but he kills everything with the weapon.
You could also go like Wrath his Aldor, attack his 1/1, Brewmaster, Brewmaster Arakoa, and Hero Power the 1/1.
Wait, do we ever use the Brewmaster? No, right?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I miss like potential lines.
I think that was just go Azure Drake.
Basically, I just don't know how much getting the brand with the buff off is, because this is a lot less buffer, right?
Yeah, it's
a less buff. That's good.
But like on the board, this is not much worse than the 5/7.
No, this is fine.
First Murloc.
I just like Wicker Flame and then Hero Power and kill the dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
then
agree.
trade both.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chooser is so good, even if you have too many weapons. It's not even looking good, bad guys. We only missed an Acolyte on 3, but when we curved out, actually kind of okay.
Like, what do we do if he was now?
What, Wrath?
No, if he was 5/10.
We can kill it, right? We just kill it. It's not that bad.
Kill it.
Yeah. With the True Silver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, we can throw the True Silver, the Elder, and the Wicker Flame and a 1/1 into it.
I like it.
That's an option. And then just Hero Power, I guess.
So Drusa, Blue Grill.
You want a Blue Girl?
I wouldn't Blue Eagle.
No, how did you say it? I didn't hear it.
Just True Silver and the Elder and the Bristle Blade and a 1/1. That's 10 damage.
Okay. And then do it.
Yeah, so just True Silver first into it.
We could also keep the Altar alive, right? What about that?
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
I liked it actually more.
So we Blue Grill into it?
Yeah, I think I actually like keeping the Altar alive.
Mm-hmm. And we have just Elder and Bristle Blade.
No, I don't like that. I
don't like
wait.
it. Hero
Wait,
Power.
I'm not sure. What do we do?
I like the Hero Power.
Okay.
How do we trade? Oh, we just
What I said. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Okay, I got confused.
I mean, it's a 3-2 or 2-1-1.
Some interesting decisions happening there with complexity, being really greedy with this bluegill warrior.
To me, it looks like complexity's plan the whole step of the way is just value until
Yeah.
it's overwhelmed Alliance. And something that's different from Alliance in this game than in the previous two games is that you heard them crafting a game plan in the first two games the whole way. Now, this hand obviously has been very limited in options. So what's their game plan at this point? I'm curious if they're maybe getting a little bit rattled by the losses so far, because there's been a distinct lack of game plan, I feel, in this particular one, where it mostly just seems like ramp, draw, hope that you find the big endgame scenario. Well, that runs a lot more smoothly if you can plan everything out. You heard Orange mention that he maybe wanted to play the Youthful Brewmaster on a turn, return that Dark Arakoa to the hand earlier. Osaka is wondering, why would we ever play that? The game plan to him is very obvious. Wait till the late game scenario and explode. But the hand has just been, it's been so bad for them. Where do they get back into this game? It's slowly slipping away.
One thing's for sure is that the communication for both of these teams is evolving over the course of the weeks. Complexity, last week it felt like they were barely even talking. You know, Super JJ was getting hyped about playing Kazakis, and, you know, doing fun things as he does. But this week they have some heated discussions, and they didn't even come to a unanimous decision in the last turn. Super JJ was still in favor of Bluegill, so definitely something to look forward from these guys to see if they can, you know, keep the discussion healthy for the remainder of this match.
Yeah, but the Tyrion coming down now, complexity starting to represent pressure. I mean, they do have the Tyrion and Ragnaros, which represents a lot of threat versus Alliance. Druid does not handle big things that well. I mean, they happen to have 2 naturalizes, but is that going to be too much to use? Let's find out.
That way we don't overdraw, we also get closer to Aviana.
Yeah. I mean, we just need Aviana, right?
I like it.
So we go naturalize first. We can do this now, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. We actually overthrow one, right?
Guys, do we?
3, 6.
Well, we're not gonna do that.
Well, then we just don't play the cold boys, right?
So we just hear power.
Time waits for no one.
We have 9 cards.
Either that or Wild Grove. I like Wild Grove to get it out of her hand.
I mean, we get it out of our hand. I like
Yeah, I guess, yeah, sure.
So, are we afraid of cold leg Oracle and stuff? Probably, right?
No, I'm more afraid. They ramped up, so. But does that matter? No, they just spent a card. I think the only thing I'm wondering is if we even go for equality, just to smack him in the face, like equality Barnes, Bluegill. That's very aggressive, though. Can also just play Light Lord. But I just don't think the 8-8 gets much done with when he's playing naturalized list.
I like the equality.
I would go.
For sure.
I think it's fine.
What do we do afterwards?
I like the Barnes.
Barnes and Blue Eagle.
Yeah.
I think he wants to like mill us with the cold Oracle stuff.
Move quickly. Tonight, a tale of true terror.
Pyro, okay.
Good Ashdrake swipe.
I think we have to put, like, we have to draw as much as possible.
So what tide?
Huh?
What tide? Murloc?
No Murloc Tide so far.
It's only this one.
We can like swipe.
I mean, I only say 2 plays.
We can
I only
swipe
say 2
Cold
plays.
Light.
Yeah, I only say Darker Akoa swipe or Cold Light. I mean, this sets up a taunt. I mean, that's like the only reason I would ever play it.
Cold Light doesn't really draw us into much this turn. I mean, it gets us closer to Aviana. We have.
It can draw us into Doomsayer. Doomsayer is good.
Oh, Doomsayer is pretty good, yeah. Then I think I like the Cold Light, honestly. Just swipe Cold Light. a lot of good draws from it. No, you swipe.
We have 8 cards, or
Okay. Okay. Don't yell at me.
Oh.
Innovate that dash trick.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, whoops.
I mean,
Pro plays.
whatever.
I should say.
I mean, the problem now is we don't. On one, we have Nourish, I guess.
Alliance seems like they're getting a bit rattled.
I mean, I would be too if I was getting stomped by a Murloc Paladin again.
Yeah, they're under a lot of heat at the moment.
I mean, the other thing too is that Anyfin is starting, even at like just 2 damage, it's starting to represent quite a bit here because the Ashbringer's down from Tyrion to get that 5/3 weapon, start clocking your opponent. And we heard complexity start to feel when they could turn the corner, and Super JJ making the sick hand read on the Cold Light Oracle. He saw when they expended the Wild Growth, they're just trying to get space in their hand so that they don't burn cards. So then they take this aggressive turn, and they find themselves in a spot where Alliance doesn't have their strong setup they were expecting. But now Alliance is also starting to craft their game plan, which is dig for Aviana. They feel if they get Aviana soon enough, they can still win the game.
Yeah, very true. Man, the power creep of charge minions. 10 mana for a 2/1 charge. those anything can happens.
Now, and you can see this is how important it is just to be able to develop from the Anyfin, is that this next turn would represent lethal with that Anyfin can happen. So 2 Doomsayers come down to try to ensure that they land that clear, and then the Anyfin can happen will be 4 damage from the Blue Guild Warrior, 5 damage from the True Silver Champion. Alliance has to find a way to check this turn.
Yeah, so do they have a way?
Oh, they have plenty of ways, but one of them just involves using a Naturalize.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, is not that they're going to go for this play, but they could simply just expend the Kun for 10 more armor. But that's a key part of their game plan. If they use that Kun for 10 armor, it means they have pretty much lost their win condition.
Yeah, so the play you mentioned would be naturalizing one of the Doomsayers, hero power, and throwing the minions into the other, and then playing Ancient of War to block the damage.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's the only way to do it. I mean, if they use Swipe, they're not going to have the mana to defend themselves.
Well, they can swipe in Dark Arrow Koa. Swipe Dark Arrow Koa. Nope, they wouldn't. They wouldn't be able to kill off the second
one
Doomsayer.
damage off, yeah.
They'd be 1 damage off. So that naturalizes the only play. And it looks like that's what they're going to do. I mean, it's the only way they stay alive to an Anyfin, which is, you know, you obviously know that's being set up because of the double Doomsayer. It's a lot of resources being expended.
And you're also giving cards over to complexity as well. Let's find out what they're going to do with their newfound resources.
So equality's lethal, right? Ooh. So we war leader, equality, right?
And our war leader lives, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Good job, boys.
Can't win against the OS frog. The OS frog?
Good job, boys. That was a really nice game.
I need to go to the toilet.
Alliance just can't win.
I mean, their draw, once again, their opening was pretty abysmal. They had the Wild Growth a little bit late. They found Innervates late. Their hand was super clunky. They never found the combo pieces to fit together. They had to use their resources aggressively. I mean, a lot of this is simply complexity, applying pressure at the right time, and once again, using the entire extent of their team, where you have Crane, who's making sure that he's checking both sides of the board. You have Super JJ doing the hand reading. You have Mr. Yagut giving his instinctual input here. This is a fantastic setup they have, and I'm really concerned with Alliance at this point. I'm not sure they're beating the Paladin again this week.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Complexity now, you can see with the 3 wins with Murloc Paladin, they're 3 wins away from reaching that 6 to take the match, and they have all 6 of their decks remaining left to play. So really, it's on Alliance once again to go back to the drawing board and find yet another deck to try and counter this Murloc Paladin with. They have Warlock, Mage, and Priest left, which, if they're the standard archetypes, Dragon Priest, Reno Warlock, and Reno Mage, all of those are relatively weak to Murloc Paladin. It's going to be tough.
I don't know if relatively weak is the word I would use. I would use incredibly weak with the potential for the anything can happen deck to just squash what's going on from the Warlock side.
Yeah.
I mean, they would need immediate pressure to go unchecked. That's very difficult to have happen. They have Equality, plus they have Aldor Peacekeeper to check your big early threats. Against the Priest build, True Silver Champion does a fantastic job against that, and they start to outscale you pretty quickly. One Equality turn, it's lights out for the Priest. On the Reno Mage's side, where do they find the pressure at? They need Alex Strauss setups. They need board pressure to keep going there. That doesn't really happen that much because there's Forbidden Healing, there's Ragnaros Lightlord. It's difficult for them to find a win with these three. I think we're looking at another 6-0.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things that Reno Mage can do to win, but it sort of involves, like, cheesing, so to speak, the Murloc Paladin, abusing polymorph effects, if they can get a polymorph from, if they have Kabbalist Tome or if they have Babbling Book, getting a second polymorph and getting rid of War Leaders can be a big deal. Also, Ice Block can, buy you a turn. Kazakus Potions, getting the polymorph effect, the Mystic Wool, those types of things. So Reno Mage, probably the best bet, and what I would imagine you need to go for in this situation. But we have seen in the past weeks that players have tried to queue up Dragon Priest a lot of the times in this situation, and try and pressure out a win early on. But in reality, Alliance is just in a bad spot once again this week.
The other thing to think about too is if it just simply turns into a resource battle with Anyfin versus Reno Mage, if the cards line up right, I mean, complexity's free to just continue to heal and out-resource the Reno Mage. They can win in the game in fatigue. Reno Mage, they would have to forego some of their card draws, which means leaving Azure Drake dead, maybe leaving Blood Mage dead, maybe not casting Arcane Intellect to get to that point. But that's a difficult situation to find yourself in when you're fighting against True Silver Champions, when you're fighting against Tyrion. There's just too much. There's just too much they have to check, I feel.
Yeah.
The big effects from Kazakus, like the polymorphs and finding those timely situations, those come down to percentages, and then also the setup for that to happen. And so when you have that many things have to go right, I think it's difficult for them to find a win there. I'm very concerned for them, but I think Dragon Priest honestly may be their best bet to try to pressure early.
Yeah, Dragon Priest did take a few games against Murloc Paladin in day 2 of last week. Day 2, Murloc Paladin was for the most part kept in check. It only won, the initial games for both teams on each side, and was kept in check by the aggressive decks, the Warrior, I think, one time, and Dragon Priest also. Dragon Priest, like you mentioned, True Silver Champion's great. If Dragon Priest loses their board, a lot of times it's hard for them to recover. But you also have to factor in that sometimes you can Draconid Operative into anything can happen and give them a taste of their own medicine. And that's exactly how one of the teams was able to take one of the games last week.
Secret Agent's coming through. I mean, there's a lot that guy can accomplish.
Yeah.
A 5-mana 5/6 is already strong in its own right, and then you're picking a card from your opponent's deck. And against Anyfin Paladin, maybe that's a way to win the game. Again, it's a percentage thing, though. It's not always going to happen, and when it doesn't happen, you need to be able to close. It's difficult for Priest to have burst damage to close, but it looks like they're going with Reno Mage.
All right, Reno Mage it is. There's a lot of things that have to go right for the Reno Mage, as we talked about. You have to either, there's 2 ways you can win. You can win by trying to go for that sort of attrition style where you try and just neutralize the Murlocs, or you can pressure. But let's see if they're trying to formulate a game plan this early on.
Yeah, Torch is just good, right?
Yeah, it's just too good.
Especially if they challenge with Acolyte.
Yeah. This is not bad.
Yeah, it's
Like,
kind
they
of
don't
expensive.
even play minions in the beginning.
Yeah, it's gonna be expensive cycle. Yeah, you should mulligan as well, I agree.
I agree.
So just Acolyte?
Yeah. It's not really a pyro matchup. Stupid pyro. It's fine. Eventually, it's Barnes is good.
Because he pulls Finja.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't pull Doomsday, I guess. Just hero power. We should do it fast so we don't show him that we have Acolyte.
And you don't want to coin Acolyte?
No, because of Torch or Frostbolt.
What if he doesn't have it?
Let me think.
If he doesn't have it, what if he has it?
Is it so bad?
I don't think it's even that insane for him.
I guess it's more about the coin. I mean, coining Tyrion, is that a thing? It's always a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but polymorph and stuff. I think.
I guess though, if we,
it's not so
I think
easy.
I like hero power since like if he hero powers next turn, right, to protect the loot hoarder, we play acolyte, we stop his 4-drop.
I agree. I like the argument.
Actually.
So just hero power.
Yeah. I don't feel like blocking his turn 3 makes much of any sense actually.
Yeah.
Not, and we waste a coin for it.
Just ping go.
Yes. Yeah. We have no other place, right? No. I mean, so what do they do now in your... They just play acolyte now instead of wasting coin?
Possibly, yeah. Yeah.
What the fuck?
That's exactly what we're gonna do. Now we torch.
Yeah, torch.
Sick reads on both sides.
I'm loving it.
And a nice read.
Honestly, coining the Acolyte would have been a disastrous situation, too. I would have bought Alliance so much tempo, and it would have wasted the coin from compLexity, which, honestly, that's a very powerful resource to get ahead of the curve. So, compLexity slowing it down a little bit, very strong, but once again, Alliance's hand on the open is incredibly weak. They've drawn almost all their AoE. In fact, that actually may be all their AoE, aside from Kazaka's potential, in their hand on turn 4 versus Murloc Paladin. This is bad news again.
Yeah, definitely. You really want to try and, be proactive, or, even if that involves aggressively cycling and just saying, forget about the fatigue matchup. We have to win this the old-fashioned way by bringing our opponent down to 0 with minions and spells.
Like punished by drawing the Roaring Torch.
Wow. Brutal.
Yeah, this is looking like a Volcanic Potion turn to me. They need to draw something off of this Acolyte, and they do want to kill the board. I mean, maybe they can get away with not using Volcanic Potion, just simply hero power on the 1/1 Ragnaros, thanks to Barnes. But this hand they've got to draw something. How many games in a row can this happen?
Yeah. Well,
it's
4.
like they're just unlucky. It's not even that compLexity's lucky. It's just that Alliance is just being unlucky.
Yeah. compLexity still navigating the turns quite well, but Alliance has just gotten the short end of the stick here on a lot of these opening hands.
I mean, compLexity's been about as close to picture perfect as you can imagine with their hands thus far. It's not really much help.
Yeah, Doomsayer throwing it down on turn 5 against Murloc Paladin is stopping Finja, but that's about it. And even then, the Paladin, the Paladins are just okay with waiting a turn. It's not really a big deal for them. They're not worried about a big drop from the mage coming down the other side. So compLexity draws into a Solemn Vigil. They don't really have any minions that they can play proactively yet. I mean, they can just throw it on a Tempo Aldor or Wild Pyromancer. But
yeah, you heard Crane lament the Pyromancer draw. It certainly is poor in this matchup.
Stupid Pyro.
They may be eyeing just using that. Something to me that's going to be interesting is to watch the card draw from both sides. Is compLexity going to feel like they want to draw cards? Is Alliance going to feel like they want to draw cards? With this hand, the answer is yes. But when they start drawing cards, that will turn them into the aggressor, given the fatigue at the end of the game. So they will have to find a way to close if they draw too much.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is a balance of resources once again, and compLexity with the hand texture is very favored.
Move quickly.
It's got to be Wild Pyromancer or Elder Peacekeeper here. I mean, they can debate on just hero power and passing. They have enough cards. Actually, they're just going to play both. Sure.
I like playing both. It just gets 6 power on board and starts to go. But Alliance, handful of clears. Let's find out how they handle it.
Here's Pest and Flames right next to him.
That makes sense too. Although it's a little bit weak to War Leader. So they play 2 minions. Is our Blizzard ever useful? Do we ever use that here?
I mean, it's decently useful against this anything, but I mean, since we drew Firelance Portal, it made our Doomsayer weaker here because we don't get to play it next turn.
What to do?
I mean, we could always just Frost Nova Doomsayer this, but
do we really want to use Frost Nova like this? Didn't we learn last week that it's pretty valuable?
I mean, you said you wanted to do it on a Finja.
So what do we do? I'm voting like Blizzard.
I mean, Blizzard is better than Frost Nova.
Yeah, Kaka?
Nova Doom is Nova Doom.
Yeah, Nova Doom.
Yes. Blizzard is better to save, that's what I meant.
I can't hear Kaka or you, Powder, so...
Yeah, we can't kill it. So I guess we Solemn. We have 3, 6, 8 here.
And it's never Truthful. I guess there's no way he's gonna drop the Anto next turn, right? Yeah. I guess I also like the Solemn.
I'm also. It's okay, right? We just make our dead turn actually a useful turn.
Yeah, if you don't Solemn now, when do we Solemn? Since we don't have equality in hand as well. So yeah, Solemn.
Yeah, I like it the most. Okay, so the Nova signals that it...
Yeah, some good points here. Would have been sick if Alliance actually ripped the Archmage Antonidas.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird position because if you look at it from Alliance's perspective, their hand is so dry that they may be that desperate to just slam Uncle Tony if they happen to draw him and start cranking out fireballs for every spell they cast. But the thing about it is compLexity, you heard them voice concern about it. Should we play the True Silver in order to check that? And they elected not to on the basis that they don't believe Alliance would simply play Archmage Antonidas in that spot. So now they find themselves in this turn and they're able to respond. And with the Bluegill draw, they would have been able to respond to Uncle Tony anyway. So everything got checked here with that Bluegill draw, but the Emperor Thaurissan here is so weak for Alliance. I mean, their hand is just, it's frankly kind of garbage right now.
Yeah, it really is. Alliance discounting Blizzard, Flame Strike, Brewing Torch, Firelands, Portal, Acidic Swamp Ooze. All reactive cards.
Very reactive cards.
Which can be good if you're trying to squeeze in, proactive plays with your reactive cards. But that can't happen if you don't have any proactive cards.
It's also not helping that they are effectively the aggressor in the matchup.
Yeah, sort of by necessity.
Yeah, and so here they're going to use Coin True Silver Champion, and it looks like they're going to set Doomsayer to try to buy back this tempo and lead straight into Tyrion.
I mean, that's also another thing that we haven't pointed out is Alliance hasn't picked up a Polymorph to deal with Tyrion. So that Ashbringer, that 15 damage that Ashbringer is going to bring over the 3 turns is actually a big deal.
Ooh, that's an interesting draw. Usually into Doomsayer is when you see players freely play this card. It is a 1-for-1 at that point, and it's a 1-for-1 from your opponent's hand. So if they actually pull the Tyrion here, that's pretty disastrous for compLexity. They would lose 4 points of damage from the True Silver, and then they would lose having to have Tyrion cost resources from Alliance as well.
If it pulls Bluegill, they're just like, oh, thank you. Wickerflame Burn Bristle is... I mean, it's okay.
It's not what Alliance was looking for, but it'll have to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's better than the Bluegill, probably, because the Bluegill usually wouldn't find that much value, whereas Wickerflame can sometimes buy you some time. Not the time is that necessary.
Just occupies resources.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. At this stage, occupying 2 mana from Alliance isn't as important as occupying a card. So the Bluegill Warrior just not really doing too much here. Let's find out how compLexity feels about this Wickerflame being pulled.
Yeah, we just don't have them in hand, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, likely to draw. But say he has Alex, gonna need them soon. Okay, that's also heal.
So...
I think it's just Tyrion. I mean, if he has the poly, he has it, right? This is the earliest we can
also
get
attack
it.
with Trusa.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you like it, JJ?
I think it's fine.
Put your faith in the light.
We have a decent play here, I guess. Ping, Roaring Torch, Ooze.
Yeah, that's the obvious line and probably is the best line.
Yeah, I mean, the only question is if you play Acolyte after.
I think so. Like, how are they gonna have their second true silver to the
I mean,
Punisher?
there's the Murlocs.
You
But I
mean
mean,
Pretty unlikely. I would play it.
Yeah, I mean, you always play first line, though. You always ping Roaring Torture.
I vote for just playing it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hit playing.
Speak to me.
Well, we definitely deny the draw.
I think we only have one play, right? Blue Grove, choose hero power.
I mean, we could consider consecrating before Bluegill. That way we can actually kill an Antonidas, for example, with cons Bluegill. But also, we have double cons. We only have one Bluegill, and we can draw. If we draw War Leader, we want to couple it with Bluegill, right? I think maybe the consecrate is better.
We use 2 Pyromancers and we still have 2 equalities. You shouldn't forget that.
Yeah, but can't we just
Like if
equality
he used-
Bluegill?
Okay.
As an alternate, I mean, it's not like he's gonna have a ton of minions. Looking at the.
What do we do, JJ?
Fire and the 2 silver hit happens, you can do that. I think we should play the Blue Eagle. The quality is still a reason, and it's not like we can't just play double Kong on Antonidas. Did you kill it?
He did it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Think God.
Some really interesting discussion coming from the complexity camp about that last turn, debating between the Bluegill and the consecration. This is sort of the value of having teams. You get presented with the options very quickly because you have 3 different minds coming up with the conclusions.
And as a result, you get rebuttals very quickly as well.
Yeah.
Because each player tends to think about a different aspect. Super JJ, he's listening to the 2 of them and weighing the options and kind of making the final decision, it feels like. Where Crane, he's pointing out something. We want to couple the Bluegill with War Leader. Mr. Good, well, what about those qualities now? It's a tough choice. To me, the story is here for Alliance where do they come out of this? Like there's so few decisions to be had. I'm curious if they could have gotten greedier with the Acolyte of Pain. The face of Bluegill and War Leader, or in True Silver Champion would have taken care of it. So those are both relatively unlikely because they've already seen a True Silver Champion, and the other one is a combination of the 2 cards. But now losing that draw, how much does it cost him at this point?
Yeah. Well, there's an equality. Not that it makes a huge difference right now, and of course they were all mentioning, there's not really too many things that you could kill. Super JJ also brought up, hey, if Archmage Antonidas does come down, we can always double consecration in an emergency, but we'd rather have those for later. So now both teams kind of have pretty poor hands. Complexity has a good hand should they draw Murlocs pretty shortly, but I think this is going to be a long game because we're starting to get to the grindy points.
Now, this is honestly, I think what Complexity wanted to happen too was to get to this grindy point. It is going to look a little bit scary for them, but as time goes on, their draws are going to look better and better and better. It keeps building. It's a critical mass situation they're trying to hit. Where from Alliance, they need to find the right tools to handle the right situation. And right now for them, that is card draw. So I think they have more immediate strong draws, but if time continues, Complexity is eventually going to find the lead.
Yeah. Alliance needs proactive plays if they want to sort of pull ahead. Alex Strazo would be a good draw. Pyroblast is interesting. They just used the Ink Master, Salia. I was about to say Ink Mage. That sounds weird.
Does sound weird.
Ink Mage Salia. It's a bishop between Archmage Antonidas and Ink Master.
I'm curious if they're just Firelance portaling this tournament. It's a lot of stuff on board. It is 5 damage. And what's in Complexity's hand if you're in Alliance's spot? I'm curious what they're thinking about on a hand range perspective. 3
reduced cost cards that have been in hand for, 2 of them since the beginning of the game, since turn 3. So I don't know. It's got to be reactive cards. They can assume that it's AoE, especially without minions being played and Ink Master being played immediately off the top. But Alliance has some tough options. So let's take a listen.
Card draw.
Okay, so we just Fire Dance Portal them in the face. And we kind of want to get smaller shadows here, so... Function.
That's pretty bad. I mean, it could be...
We did order it correctly, so we got the Inspire trigger.
Maybe we should not play it immediately. I guess he knows that all 4 cards are useless.
Yeah, but they don't know if they are useless against the 4-3, right?
So let's think. Kappa. So just rag?
Yeah.
Pretty good technically.
I mean, they're in the same seed as we are. They're just in top tech mode.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. So
do we know Pyro?
Oh, would you Pyro? I'm thinking Intellect Flame Strike.
We say the Flame Strike is better than Pyro. The Flame Strike is much better than Pyro.
I wonder.
I think I would Pyro.
We have enough. We have Fireball, Frostbolt, Ice Lance. But I mean, that's not how we're gonna win this game.
They could have the healing thing as well in their hand.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna Pyro this. Like, I think it's almost like 100% we should Pyro this.
Yeah, but that's like another card they could have in their hand, like Equality Anyfin.
Equality double Anyfin, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and the healing card. I mean, that's what they should have.
And just go face with the Muklas champion. Right?
Yeah, I don't see a point in face.
So stupid.
It's okay, guys. Don't worry. They're also breaking, right?
Yeah. But yeah, we have to save the cons for the equality. It's also not good at cons, but we have to keep in mind we have to really save those.
Yeah, I think we have to Aldo, right?
No.
We cannot anything since we only played 1 Murloc.
I think so as well. I like that.
Yeah, I think we have to play it.
Now we also see if it's Ice Barrier or Ice Block.
Oh, they could also have Reno.
All right, so we get a lot of information in those couple listen-ins there. One Alliance, of course, with the Pyroblast draw, playing the burn version of the Reno Mage. And compLexity, they're talking about, whether or not they want to play into Ice Bearer or checking for Ice Bearer, Ice Block. And also, we got to see the card counts as well. So compLexity, now with 11 cards remaining, they have 3 Murlocs in those bottom 11.
Plus more card draw.
Plus more cards. 4 Murlocs, actually, if you count Finja. So they're drawing their cards a little bit out of order, and this might give an opening to Alliance.
Yeah, I mean, the Anyfin isn't meant necessarily to deliver the endgame push in one single blow. The thing about it is the Anyfins just represent insurmountable value at some point, where Alliance just doesn't have the resources to clear the board anymore. And so if they can find that before the pressure starts to build, they can still win the game. Alliance has had a couple of really strong draws in a row, but they have yet to find anything to couple these resources with. So they're still on the back foot here. And with Brand, they're looking for Babbling Book, Cabal Courier, Kazakus. Any 3 of those draws, I think, will prompt the Brand. And now that Solemn Vigil's been drawn, that is pretty key here for compLexity. They need to find some remaining Murlocs.
Murlocs, not Murlocs.
That one's still pretty good, though. I mean, it's an insurance against an Alex Strauza push.
Yeah. But the blue goes huge. Still a Finja and 2 War Leaders left in the deck, and that's with 9 cards remaining. So a third of their remaining cards are Murlocs. So they're going to need to find those quickly because they don't want to give Alliance too much time. If Alliance can get off that Brain Kazakus, like you mentioned, pick a couple of those Mystic Wolves. You know what I'm saying. Give me that juice, the Mystic Wool juice.
I like juice.
Yeah, same here.
I hate when things are like 5% juice, though. You know, where it's
Oh,
like
yeah?
made with real juice, and it says 5% juice, and you're like, well, I mean, sure.
It could be 1% juice. You could still say it's made with real juice.
That's what I don't like about it.
Put made with real juice, but put real in quotation marks. That'll really get him.
What does that even mean?
All right.
Let's take a look at how Alliance is going to handle this turn. Limited options.
One, we can ping the 3/1 next turn.
What to do? What to
Like, say he has 2/1 Murloc, trades into our Blood Mage, then he has a 3/2, and we can't kill it. This way we can always
They ever
pull the
ping our own
3.
combos?
What are we hoping to draw?
We can't even find Kazakus of that, so...
I wonder.
I don't really know. What's left in our deck? Ice Block, Ento.
Denidas, Alexstrasza...
Polymorph, Fireball, Frostbolt, Bubbling Book, Arcane Blast.
Time runs out on me.
Ping, okay. So Thanos ping 3/2.
I don't mind ping the 1/1. It's kind of close.
I don't super mind any of them. I think you would.
Yeah, this is fine.
The 3/2s.
Oh, finally, a card. Playable card.
Yeah, plays that.
Yeah, we're just gonna jam it, right? Get that anything. Come on, third anything.
Aye.
Well,
Consecrate, we have something for the second equality, I guess.
that's the first thing that sprung to my mind as well. Into the Coliseum is, I feel, is pretty ridiculously bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they just play one big guy at a time, right? So, what are we destroying then? Yeah, let's take cons. It has to be cons.
Do we trade with the 3/2 Alta?
Otherwise, we get wrecked by Blizzard, right?
Yeah.
I think we should just take the trade.
I like it.
Reporting for duty.
Polymorph. Okay, we found Polymorph at least. That's
So we don't play Babbling Book until we play Bran, right? If we're going for the fatigue plan.
Well, it's...
I think
I mean, getting something off the Babbling Book can help us with
Yeah, I
the
think you
big
play
plan,
it
right?
well.
So you guys would just play it now?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. But you don't, Bran.
No. That's a really good one.
Is it?
Right, because we have the Reno Frost Nova thing.
Is that good?
Yeah, I mean, didn't we go over this last week?
I mean, I think there's a lot of better ones.
Yeah, I guess it's fine. Okay, whatever. Just ping the 3/1.
Yeah, you ping the 3/1 and pass.
Well, Alliance, they're finding some good cards, but they still seem a little bit unhappy, Admirable.
Yeah, I feel like they're kind of just debating semantics there on that last turn, which, of course, there's better stuff from Babbling Book, but Orange he's optimistic. He's looking at the bright side.
Yeah.
We now have the Frost Nova Reno turn that we wanted earlier in the game when we burned Frost Nova to ensure the Doomsayer. So the thing about it is you heard them mention fatigue in there, and I'm guessing that's what they've been talking about. With Complexity's poor draw after poor draw after poor draw, they've been forced to use card draw to find the rest of the Murlocs.
Yeah.
I mean, their bottom, is it 3 cards now? Has 2 Murlocs in it.
Yeah. I think they still have 6 cards remaining, so 3 out of the 6 or 3 out of the 7.
Yeah, I'm sorry, 6 cards, but
yeah. 6 cards, yeah, so half of those cards are Murlocs. 2 War Leaders and a Finja in those 6.
So they're going to have time to find the Anyfins, but the question is Alliance going to be able to get out of that? Now that they have Reno Jackson Frost Nova, you know, that 4 damage from the Ivory Knight is a really important deal here. The fact that pressure will continue to compound. And Complexity, they have given up the idea of trying to delay fatigue any further. They need to push damage. They need to push it now. They have to try to force something from Alliance. If they see a Flame Strike or they see a Blizzard here, that's more damage than anything can push. So the pressure here is very important for Complexity.
Yeah. Very true. One thing to note is that Alliance hasn't found Kazakus yet, and we heard Orange mention we're not, you know, he didn't want to play Battling Book until Bran was played. But, you know, they sort of needed to get the information from the Battlement book early on, so they're really waiting for the Kazakus. But now, once again, faced with a tough decision, let's go ahead and listen in to Alliance.
Like, what else are we
Well, the
doing?
thing is, we actually give them a draw for Acolyte.
So what would you want to do? Just ping the 2-1? I mean, we're still taking
Right now, they don't have
damage.
War Leader. They don't have War Leader in hand, obviously.
Yeah.
And probably no. Maybe they could have Finja, maybe. I mean, it's either Alex or just ping pass.
I
Because we
guess
don't play straight ever.
I guess I like the Alex then.
Yeah, I like the Alex way more than... I mean, we're not gonna Alex our own face. They use Spagneros. Yeah, go. Go for it.
So what do we do?
Hmm.
What is it ever a good idea to go Warrior double trade and then just heal our face? That might be bad, I guess.
You wanna?
I was also thinking about that.
What if we trade the Acolyte first and see what happens? We
Yeah,
can
that
get
might also be an
We
idea.
can get a second War Leader, and then we can just trade the Blue Eagle in a 1-1.
Yeah.
Do you quality then?
Probably not. Just trade the Acolyte first and see what happens.
Wait, what are you trying to get so?
War
Second
Leader.
War Leader.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I like it as well.
But now?
We could trade.
I think I like Equality War Leader trade 1-1 and go all face and then heal at the end our face.
Yeah. Like,
Equality?
yeah.
War Leader.
War Leader and heal our face at the end.
Yeah.
I hope you have good APM. Yeah, good.
He does.
Yeah, I mean, this is fine. Right? There's the card.
There we go. So, do we just polymorph this turn or do Brankosakus this turn? We can Brankosak.
We can go Brankosakus Frost Nova.
That better? That's probably better because we get the 10 mana pot. We can polymorph 2 Murlocs here.
I don't need it at all.
Kaka, do you like it?
I mean, the
So
thing is,
only one
we can
blue
just...
Yeah,
only one blue
one blue guild die.
I mean,
We need to do
right now I'm fairly sure we go for it, but is there any way we lose now?
We need to do it now
We
if
miss on the
we should do
potion.
it.
We miss on the potion. I mean, it doesn't matter if we miss on...
I'm starting to run out of
Yeah, do it. Just do it.
Do it. We can always polymorph them. 10 mana
double 10
always.
mana.
Yes.
Delay, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. Transform.
Another 10.
Yes.
Summon
Summon 3. Transform.
Transform Frost Nova.
And then Frost Nova. Yeah. I would have liked to see 10 armor, but whatever.
I think we're probably safe, right?
Yeah, we should be fine.
So a lot of stuff happened in there, and it feels like Alliance may have turned the corner. They were able to pick, they have some polymorph effects, so if they can get polymorphs down onto these 2 Murlocs, then that severely limits the amount of Murlocs that Complexity can get with their maximum potential second anything, and they're also ahead in the fatigue race.
Yeah. You saw them play the Brand Kazakus, and they found the polymorph. They knew they could, or I'm sorry, the polymorph effect from the Kazakus potion, which will turn all minions into 1/1 sheeps. When that happens, it dilutes the pool for anything can happen in terms of, I'm sorry, it shrinks the pool rather. So there's not as many Murlocs they can grab. If that's the case, it means that they can't get burst out, which means they don't need the Reno Jackson Frost Nova turn in order to stabilize and then clear the board. So them picking up a way to sheep all those minions is very important for their plan here because they probably would have had to burn the Frost Nova anyway, and that would have been disaster for them.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be tough for Complexity to win. They're having trouble finding, a reasonable way to to end this game.
Yeah, and you see them playing the Doomsayer here. They're trying to trick Alliance into not using a polymorph effect so they can get these Murlocs back. I'm not sure Alliance falls for it. I mean, me personally, I'm sheeping.
Every time.
Every time. You're hitting 2 Murlocs with that. That means that the current pool is going to res a lot smaller. Let's see how Alliance wants to handle it.
Kazakus potion. Do we ever die? Is
Do
the
they have
question.
weapon? We never died.
No,
Do they have
they have no weapon left. And the card from the Rivalry Knight was a Consecration.
Yeah.
They have no
Can we
Consecration,
get
no True Silver
Yeah,
Champion.
just think about it. They need to deal 9 damage. Can they ever deal 9 damage? No, right? They can never deal 9.
I don't see it. And I really want to polymorph these two.
I wonder.
So you take, then you do polymorph, summon 3, I guess.
Yeah, I was thinking if there's any summon that's bad for us. Like,
Time runs out.
I mean, we're even fine with Doomsayer.
we get Acolyte, can they overdraws and stuff? Probably
Yeah,
not.
they can overdraw us with Acolyte.
Nah, it's fine. Just do it anyway.
Do it.
We still have Reno Polymorph.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as we didn't get card draw there, that's...
Feels bad, man.
So we get only 1 blue girl, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he still has polymorph, by the way. Oh, shit.
I wonder.
Yeah.
So, rip. Wait, can we ever hope that he doesn't get Reno or Ice Block?
Yeah. I think we have to, but
I don't know. How do we do this? Equality War Leader?
yeah, I think, I don't know, do we even need to equality? Just,
Yeah, that's what I don't know about. What does he even have a Battle Cry anymore?
probably we need to equality and trade. He can also just go face
We
otherwise.
have nothing for the equality anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, sure.
Do it. But don't trade his 1-1, right? Just
Yeah.
the other ones and go face.
Feels polied.
But I mean, if he had Bran and Kazakus earlier in the game, then he wouldn't need that Frost.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have been in such a good situation if he didn't get the Frost Nova. From
No, I think we would win then.
Yeah.
But I mean, he could still polymorph one and maybe it would be good enough. But I think we definitely have.
Other than have the sheeps in play.
We're gonna be rich. I'm almost out of cards.
And now detect in our extras. Oh god.
Have they done it, Admirable? Has Alliance finally, after 9 games, managed to overcome the Murloc Paladin deck?
And what a foreshadow it would be to do it with Reno Jackson, turn this around and actually win the tournament from here. Reno Jackson would tell them they're going to be rich. They've turned around the Murloc Paladin game. It's about time. 9 wins in a row have happened against Alliance with Murloc Paladin. They find some good fortune in this game after their atrocious start. And now it looks like there's no way for complexity to win. There's not enough Murlocs in the pool, I don't think, to get this done.
Well, we'll check back in 8 weeks to see if that's going to come true after
foreshadowing.
after the land finals is over.
It's like a real story that happened. Like this is something you'd see on like a cable television thing.
Yeah.
It happens like in episode 2, and then it comes back.
And then they're going to play your voice in slow motion saying, this could be foreshadowing, as it plays over them winning the entire thing. I don't think even with Ivory Knight into
third
anyfin is going to do it.
Well, certainly not into any of those.
No.
We heard Crane earlier say, Enter the Coliseum is just terrible.
Yeah.
Frankly, he's right.
He's pretty right. Alliance almost had the cards themselves, but they got some high-quality cards left, including a ton of burn, which I can imagine, since they can pretty much know exactly what 3 cards those are. They can see it's either Avenging Wrath into the Coliseum and then double any fins. But let's go ahead and see what they're thinking about going through this turn.
7.
I wonder.
I mean, we could just sheep. We have lethal next turn.
You have lethal.
Every play is lethal. Every King Pass is lethal.
I mean, you always go face. I mean, I don't hate sheep here. Deal 9 damage face.
Every phase we go.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of important that we don't show some of our... I mean, we don't have to show them Icelands, right? They say they're not watching the stream.
The victory is
We did it! Yes!
We won a game against Power. How? How did we manage to do this? What?
Oh my god.
So are we done now, or?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's just...
I think we just won this series.
No, we just won.
Thanks for today, boys. It was a good run.
Well, they don't quite win the series, but at least now they're in it. One game, you can see elated that they've actually managed to take a victory against Murloc Paladin. 1-9 now in the Trinity Series.
Look, it looks rough, but the thing about it is this series is not over. They have 3 strong builds remaining. It looks like there's maybe only one aggro build in the pool for compLexity at this point, which would be the Warrior build. All 3 of the remaining builds can tackle Warrior with the right opening draws. They got to get past the Druid. Outside of that, this is a series again. Prior to this game win, it was looking really bad. But again, just a little bit of fortune after that rocky start. Having those Murlocs tucked in the bottom of compLexity's deck made a big difference in the time that they had available.
Yeah, morale boost, I think, is going to be the biggest thing here. You can see just how happy they were to take that win. But Game 4 now in the books. We're going to go to a very quick break before we jump into Game number 5. Don't go anywhere, guys. More Hearthstone Trinity Series continues right after this. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hearthstone Trinity Series presented by ESL and Twitch. My name is TJ, and I'm joined once again by That's Admirable, and we are about to jump into game number 5 of the series between Alliance and compLexity. Big story. Alliance, after 9 straight losses, back-to-back weeks in the Trinity Series to Murloc Paladin, they've done it. They've defeated it, and now they can actually start playing against some other decks.
They have slain the dragon, which in this case is a Murloc. And finally, their spirits have been lifted. I mean, towards the middle stages of game number 3, you could feel them on edge. They were debating semantics. Powder, being an optimistic, Powder going, well, there's better things we can get off Babbling Book. Well, that's not where your head should be at when you're playing these games. You need to focus in and find the best winning lines. But now that they've picked up that win, you can feel them just lifted by the fact that they finally overcome this deck that's been dominating them thus far in this tournament. But now they're facing what I would consider is one of the second worst matchups for the Reno Mage build, which is Dragon Priest. This deck has a ton of minion value packed into it, and oftentimes presenting threats where you may need to use Fireball, you may need to use Polymorph, and at stages where you don't necessarily want to use them.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, it's tough. They do have Doomsayer in their opening hand, which can be incredibly valuable against Dragon Priest. You can usually delay it to like turn 3. Sometimes even turn 4 if the Dragon Priest has a slow start and get a huge amount of value out of it. You know, another thing that makes the Dragon Priest good is you can get some crazy things off Dragon and Operative. You can get like Kazakis off of Dragon and Operative that you can get value on in the late game. So cool interactions, I think.
Another big play to look for in this matchup for compLexity is actually a Bran Cabal Talon Priest play. Bran, of course, doubles all the battle cries, and Cabal Talon Priest, the 3-mana 3/4, gives it +3 health. That makes a 2/10 Bran. When Bran has to be checked, not because it represents damage, but value, it means that your damage can come in easier, and at the same time, if it can't get checked, it means that you have turn after turn of strong battle cry plays, which is what this Dragon Priest deck is all about and why Reno Mage struggles to it. It cannot handle minions that are constantly generating value.
If you have to use, you know, big piece of removal like Polymorph on something that small, well, I guess something that small attack but huge amount of health, that can leave you open to other things later on in the game. But let's go ahead and take a listen to Alliance to see if they're debating this Doomsayer.
Doesn't do it. Like, it's so bad against Priest.
What to do? What to do?
Like, the only thing I see is speed up into Coin Crafter, otherwise he needs a Pain. So you get Ice Block, if he coins 4-drop, then Doomsayer he needs Pain. And we block, like, kind of more that way.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
So we just block here.
I wonder.
Block we only get punished. Actually, if he 3-drops with me, I can even go Frostbolt Doomsayer.
That's true.
That's not
But
that
that's
good,
that's really weak to Shadow Word Pain, though.
Yeah, Pain here looks kind of bad.
Time runs out on me.
I think
But
we just block here.
I think Doomsayer now it's not that good.
I don't think so either.
So let's just attack face first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do the sequence.
We went the Paladin Priest.
Yeah.
Yum.
I mean, I think the other kept card in his hand is Shadow Word Pain.
They keep so many cards. Like, they keep Operative, they keep, like, it's so many cards.
I mean, I would rather go Nova Doomsayer on 5 than
What to do?
go with now.
The problem with Frostnova Doomsayer on 5 now is that they can go coin a Bookworm, but I don't know how many priests play Bookworm these days.
I mean, we always play the Babbling Book no matter what.
We do. It's not Frostbolt Doomsayer.
I wonder.
I don't like that. Then I would rather go Frost Nova.
I think so too. So we just book here.
Yeah,
I think we're playing Doomsayer this turn.
Time runs out on me.
Yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, then you book.
So the Nova Doom's not done.
So
Oh, it's only
Doomsayer.
corruption. Okay, just book,
Yeah, book.
Oh, play that. And then Frostnova.
Yeah.
Play secret.
No.
Whoa! Close call there. One thing, Oskaka, he seemed to liven up a bit after their victory there. So he's talking a lot more, contributing a lot more to the discussions.
Yeah, I think something else to really consider here is that this matchup does not give you room for error. You have to maximize because you start at a disadvantage. When that's the case, I think that's when Osaka is going to perk up the most, when the options are very close and also very relevant. When they're very close and fairly inconsequential, I think he tends to be more reserved. But in these spots, there's no room for error. They need to win this matchup.
Yeah, and compLexity really debating here. They know that secret came from Babbling Book, so they know that it could be anything. So trying to pace themselves, see what it is. So they're going to test for Mirror Entity Potion of Polymorph first, see that it's Potion of Polymorph.
It's one of my favorite potions, actually.
Anything that sheeps anything.
Just cool.
Bah. Hit him with the old Mystic Wool.
Mystic Wool. What a great name. I wonder if Super JJ is at all frustrated. Maybe he feels he should have checked with the Twilight Whelp because he wasn't thinking Potion of Polymorph. He was thinking about trading over the Northshire Cleric and then getting the value from it.
Yep.
So now they're going to coin out the Twilight Guardian here, and the tech choice of Cabal Songstealer looks like it's going to be huge this game. Alliance is set up for Frost Nova Doomsayer, but that tech choice with Cabal Songstealer, silence that Doomsayer, that is a pretty much good game.
Yeah, now you did hear Alliance talking earlier. They know the risks of that play. They saw, they saw a couple keeps. The Azure Drake still was a keep in the earlier hand that's still in the hand. And they mentioned Shadowward Pain.
Look at Super JJ, like, oh yeah.
He's
this
excited.
Is perfect. I mean, this could not be better for them.
Yeah.
This is the absolute strongest thing I think that they have available as a choice in the game right now for Priest.
Yeah. And you could see Orange's face. So let's go ahead and hear his thoughts.
We are allowed and not allowed to use.
Just don't say it.
Never mind.
I'm just gonna intellect here.
Yep.
Yo.
Ooh. And just Tal knows because we really need to cycle here.
I don't think Dirty Rat
Dirty Rat accomplishes nothing, right?
can kill. They can get out and up. That he would play.
Yeah, that's not even that good for us. Sure, they don't get the card, but...
I mean, they can
good.
try, right?
Good.
Huh?
There's Operative and Nether's Pipe. Those are the good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously it's not.
How good is it
but like
to
at
get
some
an
point,
operative out?
at some point we have to AoE this anyway.
Yeah.
How will he remove the board, guys? Tell me.
Probably not.
I don't see it.
So also we have. Oh wow, it's a very good draw as well. So we should buff the 3/4, play around Flame Strike. When we buff the 5/5, play around Flame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. That's a very good draw if he wants to set up with some wacky stuff. Buff this, the sheep.
And I guess we don't need to 1-1.
Yeah, we need board space more, don't we? Or how is
I
it?
think we get 2 healer here. 3 is-
I think we want
Do
to
get
board
double
space. So board space might be important to place like Azure Drake into Rag or something.
Sure.
I just don't feel the 1-1 is doing enough to justify.
Guys,
Yeah.
you're just gonna proc them next. I mean, what the...
Yeah, if they try to Blizzard into Flame Strike, we have like Whole Nova is pretty perfect. And it's not.
Reno. And he has to have hit everything into. For him to focus.
Pyro is complete nonsense, right?
I think so, yeah.
I think we fire last portal.
Protecting the block is not the priority.
No.
I don't know.
We get them.
I like a Ink Master Fire lands into Reno.
Yeah, me too. Go, baby. I mean, there are some good things we can get. There's some taunts.
Embrace the power of the Cabal.
Earth Elemental.
Earth Elemental would be sweet.
Come on, we have a secret.
Blizzard, fix your game. Brr.
Berg.
That's unfortunate they don't get the battle cry from Avian Watcher, +1/+1 and taunt. They have a secret, TJ.
Too bad.
So sad.
The laws of Hearthstone.
Alliance starting to craft a game plan here, though. I mean, the fact that they're facing down this massive board position, they use Inkmaster Firelands Portal to try to buy some tempo. They could have potentially preserved their Ice Block by using Pyroblast instead. But if they give up the Pyroblast, they may be giving up the actual chance to win the game. Here, they're losing the Ice Block, they're playing the Reno Jackson, and then their idea is that they can draw Alexstrasza, and over the course of 2 turns, maybe win the game. But that is a long road.
Yeah, long road, a very tough one that relies on them drawing the perfect cards for the next couple turns.
This is interesting. They popped a block run here? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13?
Yeah, they did.
They could have popped it at 1 instead, but I guess it doesn't matter too much. They have the Holy Nova in hand, and what card in this deck would deal 1 point of damage? Something that's sheeped.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. JJ's smiling as well. I'm sure he noticed it at the end. He's like, oh, wait a second. That's 2 health. But, oh, well. They can assume that the Reno is going to come anyway, and if it doesn't, they win with the Holy Nova. So hit him with the old dirty rat.
Yeah, the Shadow Word Death here was really impactful from compLexity as well. Taking out the 5/5 meant that there wasn't room for trade. So Alliance just trying to reinforce as much as they can, save as much damage as they can, and hope that they draw Alexstrasza next turn. If they draw Alexstrasza, they can win.
It's a long shot, but they can.
Suffering 12 points of damage minimum on the next turn if compLexity goes full face.
Yeah. I can imagine compLexity is going to go with, some sort of trading here, try and play around AoE as much as possible while also pushing as much damage as possible. But at this point, Ice Block's gone, Reno's gone. As long as they keep their board alive, then they're going to win the game.
Yeah, that's the key to the build, too, is that it just plays such a strong value game that as long as they Draconid Operatives, Azure Drake, at this point a Brand would be good. That's one of the weaker draws in the deck right now, and if Alliance picks up Alexstrasza, that could be the chance to capitalize, but it's got to be next turn, I think. Maybe they can buy some extra time with, say, Blizzard or Frost Nova, some card draw into ways to stop the board, but it's do or die time for their draws.
We'll see how they're going to make these trades here. They're a little bit awkward. They want to make as many damage hits as possible on their high health minions. So that way, Holy Nova gets the most value.
Yeah, they don't want to sacrifice too much. But this is definitely one of their better plans. So it looks like 5/8 into Avian Watcher and then Holy Nova. I'm curious if they ever want to kill the Doomsayer to maybe dilute the Kazakus potion as well. Like, there is some merit to that at some stage.
Yeah.
But I think they can respond to that once they see Kazakus. That's a big amount of healing.
All right, let's go ahead and take a listen into Alliance, see how they're going to react to this turn.
13, they have 16 damage. Alex.
Quite.
Oh my god. So do we just clear now? I mean, we can clear a 3/6, we can clear 5. Fireball and Frostbolt Icelands.
We can kill a 3/6 and a 5/8.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Well, I just repeated it. What you gonna do about it?
We can kill a 3/6 and a 5/8.
Yes. And then I guess we hope to draw. I mean,
If we draw Antonidas?
Wait.
If we draw Antonidas?
What do you think about killing a 3/6 and a 5/8? No, but honestly,
It's another line.
It's a line.
Seems like the line. I don't think that we have enough time to go off with Antonidas and the.
No, I think that's our only play.
Okay, after a lot of consideration for myself, I'm gonna kill a 3/6 and a 5/8. Because I didn't hear you guys suggest anything better.
We drew all early stuff. Kind of annoying.
So we just played it's our last dragon. But we should play it still, right?
Yeah, we should still play.
Should we just also play the Wormrest then?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I think the spot is good enough, right?
Kinda is, but we can't play the Wormrest until we draw another dragon. And it's not a dragon it's not helping synergize with so much.
Guys, I really don't know if I want to drop this Azure Drake. we have really double historian in there.
Yeah, double operative.
I think it's very bad to play the Azure Drake.
So you just
play
want
the
the
agent?
Just the agent.
Yeah, I can see
I think
that as well.
actually this is true.
We smack him we smack him for 12 next turn. I mean.
Yeah, actually, you're right. Not playing Azure Drake.
10.
Yeah, I agree.
This is we have. You're gonna be very sad.
Hello, Bren.
Is it?
Yes.
Are we
With
living in a world
Pyroblast?
where we're pyroblasting this 3/6?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Exactly how I wanted to use my pyroblast. Yep, you're dead.
Mistake that emoting there, for sure. Mistake.
Threaten them.
Yep.
He sees the lines.
All of them.
All of them.
All of them have killed the 3/6 and killed the 3/8. They had a couple different 3/6s they could kill, though.
They did, yeah. So that was the debate. Those were the options that they were presenting. Should we kill this 3/6 and this 5/8?
Oh,
Little late.
Alex Straza, come on. There's no such thing as fashionably late, by the way. For those of you out there who do that, don't do it. Don't be that person. Look what happens when you're fashionably late. Instead, Alliance loses the game.
Every time you're fashionably late somewhere, Alliance is losing a game because of it.
Think about that next time you want to show up 10 minutes late deliberately. Why not?
Why not?
The game is ended at this point anyway.
Yeah.
There's no resources left for Alliance. And that's why this matchup is so tough. Every step of the way, complexity, value, value, value. And Alliance could not recover. They expended almost every single one of their resources inefficiently to try to handle what was going on.
Even if they had drawn like Flame Strike, every turn complexity made sure that their board wasn't vulnerable to it. They even planned during their Holy Nova turns. Oh wow!
Right afterwards too.
Back to back. If those draws were like 3 turns earlier, respectively,
they might have won.
They might have won. Yeah. Alex Straza into Archmage Frostbolt Icelands, but that's gonna be complexity taking a 4-1 lead. Keeping that momentum going, despite having that 1 game loss with that Murloc Paladin. Complexity still in the driver's seat here.
Not only that, but they've done it with Paladin and Priest. I mean, these are not the strongest classes that are out there, but they've had the heat. Paladin did so much work. Priest, perfect counter to the Mage there. And look what they have left. They have the Druid to fight off against the Mage when that situation arrives. They have Warrior, Priest, and Mage to try to fight against the Warlock remaining for Alliance. This is a tremendous uphill battle, and it certainly could turn around, but it's going to require some fortune.
Yeah. 2 wins remain for complexity in order to take the match, and they're going to be on the Priest again going to the next match. And looks like Osakaka, the last line of defense for Alliance, he's got Warlock and Priest left remaining. So it's either a mirror matchup, potentially, if it is a Dragon Priest, and a Warlock. I mean, gotta throw out the Warlock here, but then that's vulnerable. They're just in a rough spot overall, I feel.
Definitely. I mean, which one of these presents better value? Is it the mirror match where cards are evenly matched and a lot of it can be determined by the early turns? Or do you go with the Warlock and hope that the Priest can find a better matchup somewhere along the line? I think either way, Alliance is going to have to win multiple unfavored matchups.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you fall this far behind in Last Hero Standing, a format where you're supposed to be able to counter decks that you lose to. It's going to be tough. You know, those 3 Murloc Paladin games, even though they were able to overcome, just I don't know if it's going to be enough. And that's sort of going to be the story for them moving forward. Now, Reno Luck is a very strong deck. Should that be their deck? Of course, we don't know for sure. But Reno Warlock's really the only archetype of Warlock that's competitive at the moment. Then it's a strong deck that can beat things, but its unfavorables tend to be pretty unfavorable.
Something else to consider, too, is the tech choice of the Cabal Songstealer. That can really impact the Reno Warlock matchup. But once again, landing on a timely Doomsayer, as we saw in the Reno Mage match, or being able to nullify a Twilight Drake, which is one of the more powerful threats versus Priest in general. Very high health, 4 attacks, not vulnerable to the Shadow Word Pain or the Shadow Word Death. The Cabal Songstealer could play a role there. So that tech choice could once again come into play in these matchups, even in situations where they're unfavorable. That can turn a game around. So the way that the build is, rather than nodding more towards aggressive decks and maybe running a Potion of Madness or a Mistress of Mixtures, instead they have that 5-drop that's meant to swing the board. It's a very important card for them to consider in the next couple games.
Yeah, that's very true. So we'll see what they decide to go with, and we can imagine it's going to be that Warlock. Now, there has been Fibonacci's been playing the Demon Reno lock recently with the Cruel, the Unshackled, and some demons. I want to see that brought out.
I actually don't mind that build. I saw a little bit of that played as well. I played against it 1 or 2 times on ladder, I think it was, in the last couple weeks. And something that I really liked about the build is that it was surprising. Most of the time your opponent's preparing for burst via Leroy Jenkins, Power Overwhelming Faceless Manipulator. And instead, you slam Cruel, and suddenly you have a board full of stuff. The other thing, too, is that they're not typically overextending into the board because they're fearing Shadow Flame clears, they're fearing Twisting Nether clears. So to take advantage of the way that people have become accustomed to playing against that build and having one gigantic board swing with Cruel, just summoning all your demons from your hands into play, that's something that you often are never aware of until it's too late.
Yeah, that's happened quite a few times in sort of the history of Hearthstone, where a competitive deck has sort of stayed the same for so long, and then all of a sudden someone comes out with a variation of the deck that's really similar that just has a separate, late game plan or even early game game plan that shakes things up. So maybe in a format like this one, where you sort of have a range of expectations as far as what decks go in, and that influence your decisions for queuing up things, they might decide to change things up with a different type of Warlock deck. Maybe once people realize that control is king in the Trinity Series, Rexstar is going to make a comeback. Anything can happen, anything can happen.
It's funny to me that you mentioned Fibonacci alongside the, in historic Hearthstone, there's been changes. Oftentimes when I've seen those changes come into play, it's been from Fibonacci. I remember running into him playing Malagos Cold Light Freeze Mage. I remember running into him playing Fatigue Control Warrior.
Yeah. But let's go ahead and take a listen into these mulligans to get these players' thoughts.
Yeah, we don't keep anything here, right?
I would argue even maybe keeping Syl, but not when they have Song Stealer.
No.
So yeah, just chip it out.
I think even then, I'm pretty sure you don't keep it.
Yeah, we don't keep it.
Let's go.
We have the best card against Priest. Twilight Drake.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
I'm right.
We play the agent, right?
Yep.
For a lot of reasons.
The depth is actually not even bad.
Yes.
This is looking good.
Looks decent.
Shield. Do you think?
Nah, because of Doomsayer. It's a lot against Doomsayer. I think I just like the...
We played Historian first, right?
Yeah.
Wait.
So we're not gonna play the Whelp, right? Oh yeah, we can. Never mind.
Secret Agent.
Operative, yeah.
Yeah,
so we should really think if we're playing the Whelp at all, because we really want to play 4 into 5. So if we don't hit a dragon in the next 2 draws, then playing the Whelp would really hurt us, right?
Mm-hmm.
But getting the damage in is also nice. Maybe we want to Shadow Death on turn 5 anyways, I'm not sure.
I would keep the Whelp, I think, and just buff something. Like the 1/3 or the 2/4, one of these.
I
think it's a 2/4 because of Twilight Drake.
Yeah, other reasons, AoE ping down the line. I don't know, the Historian is 1 damage, buffing it just seems irrelevant.
Yep.
Got the best card against Priest. Twilight Drake.
Yeah, I also have Mountain Giant, and the Power Word Shield in the 2/4 also inadvertently plays around Shadow Bolt here. So a lot of reasons to Power Word Shield up the Wormrest Agent 2/4 taunt rather than the 1/3 here. The 1/3 is just not representing that much.
Yep.
It's a tough turn for Alliance, though, with the option of coining the Twilight Drake to start the immediate threaten. but that Power Word Shield may have delayed that a turn. But if they don't start getting on board, are they going to fall too far behind? If they coin the Twilight Drake now, are they getting the Mountain Giant out ever?
Yeah.
Do they want to play the Mountain Giant early because of Shadow Word Death? This is a tough spot for Alliance where just a couple of early minions has started the pressure.
They do have some good cards for the matchup already in their hand. Twilight Drake we mentioned. Twisting Nether's also a pretty good one just because resetting the board against Dragon Priest can oftentimes be a really great way to put yourself in an advantageous position.
Wow.
Just a pass.
Ragnaros gets drawn as well. That's definitely the endgame burst that Priest has access to. Without that, it's really hard to have a strong card that can close and do something else. They have Mind Blast, but that only does one thing. So you typically don't find it in Priest builds.
This is rough because now they're playing Twilight Drake, but there's already been a big board built up for compLexity here, and they're rolling right into Dragonid Operative.
They may be looking for a Shadow Flame turn a little bit earlier than they would desire, and it's unfortunate that they may need to use it with the Twilight Drake of all things. But if they play the Mountain Giant here and they run into a Shadow Word Death, that's a lot of damage you're taking, where the Twilight Drake may offer you the potential to actually recover the board and roll an Emperor Thoris on.
Yeah. It's got to be Twilight Drake. So let's say they Twilight Drake this turn.
They got to fear the Cabal Songstealer as well, too.
Yeah. I think you have to play as if they don't have it because, it's more likely for them to have Shadow Word Death than it would be for them to have Cabal Songstealer.
Yeah.
And Cabal Songstealer, it would punish you more, I feel, but less likely. I mean, you assume they only run one because it's not a common card as it is. But let's go ahead and take a listen into compLexity. It looks like we're going to have a Dragonid Operative turn, which could lead to some interesting discussions.
Yeah, maybe for 10-6. No, we just Dragonid.
Oh wow, the brand, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we just trade in the Historian? I think a lot of teams might actually be playing MC Tech this week.
I think I like it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Agrid?
I think it's fine to play around MC Tech.
Even plays around Shambler, boys. Play around Shambler.
Yeah, now the Shambler is gonna do nothing.
We have Rat Power Overwhelming Shadow. It's really strong. We can do it next turn.
If we coin Emperor, we can do that next turn.
We can do it next turn no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we would like to coin
not
Emperor.
if we go Giant Coin Bolt, then we can.
But why were we bolting here? That makes no sense, right? I mean, it's only if we think we're ever dead.
It's not because we're dead, it's because we don't have to AoE next turn. Like if we go Giant Coin Bolt, we have
we can't
we
have
have
to.
4/6 and an 8/8.
Yeah, but we can't kill the. We can't ever kill the 5. Like then we would have to.
That line of players loses to death, doesn't it? Like if we play Mountain Giant, coin Shadow Bolt, and they
It's either just Mountain Giant or Coin Emperor. I think I like Coin Emperor because then we feel.
Yes, way more mana efficient.
Yeah.
We don't hit anything.
No, we don't hit.
So we could actually draw a lot, right? We could still do it and clear the board at the same time.
We can clear everything and draw 3 cards. You know how good that is?
Then we're weak to MC Tech again, but I don't think we can play around MC Tech, right?
The MC tag is not an issue anymore. We just.
Yeah, we do it. Let's do it.
What do you think, Ren?
I don't think. Yeah, I think I like it because I don't think going all face is at all worth it when this is the alternative. This is just so good. And all face would also require using a death. I'd like to do it right now.
So sick. Oh, everything, guys, everything. Oh, God.
can...
Yeah, just tap.
Then, like, Mountain Giant Shadow Bolt.
What? No, are we not Shadow Flaming?
I think we're Shadow Flaming this turn always.
Okay.
Tap, red, yeah, Shadow Flame. Tap.
Yeah, I like it.
I wonder.
I think that's the only play.
Almost out of time.
Still, you have Shadow Flame, right?
Yeah, I think we have to. Maybe when we drew the brand, we could have got Mountain. We could have gotten 2 off of the brand.
Potential for a blunder on Alliance's side right here. If compLexity got the Ragnaros from the Dirty Rat, PO Shadowflame wouldn't have cleared it. The life tap could not have changed their play that turn. And they should have reserved the option on life tap, because if Ragnaros came out, then the Shadow Bolt would have been necessary to clear the Ragnaros.
Yeah. Now, Ragnaros would have really been the only thing. There's not really anything that's between 7 and 10 health that the Shadow Bolt would be able to kill other than a Ragnaros. But that's a huge punish that sometimes you have to think about. Not necessarily sure if it even crossed their mind, but...
I mean, we could see the hands. It's easy for us.
Yeah, it's easy for us.
But that's how much thought is going into every single turn, and that mechanized thought of draw before you take your actions isn't always the case.
Yeah.
Sometimes having options open is a better thing.
All right, so options here for Alliance. Staring down to 9-9 with no Reno in hand.
Not only that, but they wanted to see a bigger reload to use Twisting Nether. Here, the Twisting Nether is just pretty garbage.
Yeah.
So the question here is, what do they do with this Faceless Manipulator now that the Power Overwhelming's gone? Well, they still have Dark Peddler, so there's a chance that the Leroy combo's still there, but they may need to rely on something like Jiraxis to do the heavy lifting this game, because right now, if it continues as a value battle, I believe they're going to lose it.
Yeah, I mean, if they Twisting Nether here, Rag comes down, brings them to 6. compLexity has Brand plus Blackwing Corruptor in hand already. So they need to draw, they need to answer the Rag and also get Reno. I think this might just be game for compLexity. They have too much pressure.
It's pretty close to checkmate, because the answer to the Ragnaros is also just their Faceless Manipulator.
Yeah.
So they Faceless Manipulator, hope it connects with the Ragnaros. If it doesn't connect with the Ragnaros, disaster. If it does connect with the Ragnaros, Bran and Blackwing Corruptor end the game. So they need to draw almost exactly Earthen Ring Farseer, I think, to stay alive.
Siphon Soul?
Siphon Soul would do it as well.
Reno Jackson would just keep them alive.
Yeah.
Is another thing. So let's go ahead and listen to Alliance to see if they can escape from this game.
We're dead to Leroy from the operative, but not much we can do about that.
We're dead to Bram. Corruptor too. Oh, I mean, we can't heal, so what's the choice? We can only Faceless Imp King boss here and hope to kill the guy, right?
Yeah. It's like tap into Reno.
It's not even a winning line, honestly.
No.
Yeah.
But
I think, I mean, Faceless Imp King boss, it's kind of likely that he didn't pick Reno, right? I mean, pick the...
We would probably always pick it if we had option.
You can even just Death Pain.
We can use the top deck one. Silence your own Rag and hit.
Guys, you shouldn't show him the pen. You didn't show it before.
Pain?
We did.
Why not kill
Just
them?
get lethal, just get lethal.
Why not kill them with their own card, huh? Why not kill them with their own card? It's their brand.
Yeah.
Use the top deck one. Yeah, this is how
We could do that, right?
So they have left their priest, and our priest is pretty greedy. Pretty greedy.
All right, well, you can hear Super JJ talking about the mirror matchup, because that's, basically what it's going to come down to, at least for the next match. 5-1 now for compLexity, steamrolling over Alliance, even despite the Kryptonite being defeated, the Murloc Paladin.
And what a fashion they're doing it in, too. I mean, dominating the Warlock with the the Dragon Priest here. That's a big deal. It definitely nabbed a lot of value there, and just never did Alliance get the turn they quite wanted. Everything was just outside of where they had planned it to be, and it meant disaster for them. They pulled a 2-1 out of the Dirty Rat instead of any significant minion. If they get the Dragon and Crusher there, that's 9 less points of damage they have to face the next turn. You know, maybe then compLexity pushes onto the board. Twisting Nether gets opened at that point. And the Ragnaros came down right on turn 8 with no minions on board. They've just been pressured every single step, and you can hear the difference to it. Alliance is debating about these plays, where compLexity oftentimes they're inquiring about it. They're sharing their opinions about what they feel is best. I feel like they're just more cohesive at the moment.
Yeah, it definitely seems so. And we'll see if compLexity can close out the series as we get into game number 7 right after this break.
Who's that pro?
I think I'm the only guy that plays Reno Priest.
It's Tice!
I think I'm the only guy that plays Reno Priest.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hearthstone Trinity Series presented by ESL and Twitch. About to see the possible conclusion to the compLexity versus Alliance series. Once again, I'm TJ, joined by That's Admirable. Can Alliance come back from this big of a deficit, Admirable? It's tough in last hero standing.
Yeah, well, they have Priest left to do it with. So the first thing is they have to fight a mirror match. That oftentimes is going to come down to the early stages of the game, whoever is able to grab control. But then they got to beat everything. And I don't know if that works that way. I don't really know if it beats all the decks as consistently as they're hoping for. You know, the Murloc Paladin is offering a range of very strong reactive stuff with very strong endgame. So if their cards pan out in the right order, they can have an advantage versus basically any slow matchup. But versus any of the quick ones, this Priest could really struggle in some spots. And especially against anything that scales really hard. I'm thinking maybe Jade Druid.
Sure, yeah. Could be a possibility. Now let's take a look at the two decks side by side. JJ mentioned himself that their Priest deck is very greedy for a Dragon Priest, you know, which may help its matchups against, you know, some of the slower decks. Not sure how it fares in the mirror because it's sort of about curving out well, and you know, it's there are some swing turns, most notably with Holy Nova or Dragonfire Potion, should that, you know, be a choice, but Dragonfire Potion's nullified by the fact that many of the minions are dragons. Holy Nova requires a very specific board state, so usually the team that loses the board is usually going to be the team that loses the game.
Yeah, oftentimes too it can come down to just nailing the right board setup, which requires some very particular cards. But we haven't seen Potion of Madness from compLexity yet, and that's a card that can very much be valuable in this matchup where you could steal an Orshire Cleric away and do some shenanigans, maybe take a Bran and do some interesting stuff. But what we've seen from them is just heavy stuff and then the Cabal Song Stealer. So I'm curious where the build goes, and Blackwing Technician is a very strong tech choice in this mirror match.
Oh yeah, a 3/5 that comes out relatively early, you know, unless there's a Shadow or Pain on the other side, can do some heavy lifting as far as board control goes. And compLexity, while they do have some high value cards in their hand, they don't necessarily have a strong curve, whereas Alliance is looking pretty good.
Yeah, Shadow or Pain is obviously a very strong card in this matchup as well, with lots of minions hitting that 3 power mark. Of course, destroying a 3 power or less minion. But when you have the addition of Blackwing Technician, there's just so many of them in there that it's difficult to overcome that, especially if your opponent is curving out early. So the Wormrust Agent here going to get checked by Blackwing Technician, and then Alliance will start threatening extra value. So this is a really tough spot for compLexity very early on. Their turn 3 is pretty dry.
Yeah, Bran can get a lot of value as the game progresses. Don't want to usually have to play it on turn 3. You'd much rather be playing the Talon Priest, the Technician if you have it, or even just, you know, 1-drop, 2-drop. You know, if you have a 1-drop and a 2-drop, since the deck does run a few of those. So we'll see if compLexity can make it to that turn 5 range where they do have, you know, Blackwing Corruptor and a Blackwing Corruptor, which can help them take back control of the board.
Yeah, I'm curious if Alliance ever falls behind here if they coin the Blackwing Technician. I mean, they're obviously the punish would be Shadow Word Pain, but either in the face of Cabal Talon Priest or Powered Shield, looks like they're still good. Let's find out how they want to tackle it.
Wait, didn't I see a Blackwing Technician, or am I remembering wrong?
No idea.
Okay, so
I think we coined it. I would coin Blackwing Technician now attack.
What if he goes Talon Priest? Then we can kill it.
Yeah, then we get 2 cards.
Okay, fine. Here I go, point. Let's go.
My work is paramount. Leave me alone.
Should attack the Cleric and play the Bran.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Yeah, that's what I came to as well.
Who knows what secrets will uncover?
Just feels awkward to know next turn play, but I guess we just have to hope.
Guys, you're already behind. Just to the...
Yeah.
A 4/6 Twilight Guardian is kind of scary. Like, how much better do we think that Pain is gonna get? If he's like Pain, attack his Vermis Agent here, play the second Northshire, aren't we like in really good shape?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean,
we're in very good shape. The punish from the 4/6 is kind of big, right, with our board?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just
Pain.
And then we'd still have to Pain the Bran after that, right? Because then he goes into 5.
Yeah.
So it should be for sure.
Yeah, so we Pain the Bran.
Is someone injured?
Pretty brutal early board state for compLexity here.
And no turn 4.
He'll pass.
It was already about as strong as it gets for Alliance. Missing the turn 4 here is, I think that's game over. And I don't see how compLexity finds their way back into this game. I mean, Alliance is about to start drawing 2 cards a turn.
Yeah, a Dragon draw also opens up Twilight Guardian. Probably going to keep drawing just to get that value game. They realized that compLexity didn't have to play last turn, so there's no reason in, you know, trying to go too fast. And they could still develop that Wormrust Agent behind it, so setting up for success.
Yeah, this is about as big of a blowout as you're going to get in this matchup. And again, it pans down to early turns. The cards are even in terms of builds. So when one player steals the early advantage, it's pretty tough to ever get back into it. The one thing that I think could change it is if there's a Dragonfire Potion in Alliance's build.
Yep, that's the only thing. And they have to rely on their opponent's deck building, and no,
just more heavy stuff.
Yep. Now, Dragon Operative is a pretty big minion that the current board doesn't challenge too well. That's one thing to note. They pick up a Twilight Drake, which is also kind of tough for a priest to deal with. unless they have a relatively big board. So maybe they can just muscle their way out of this situation.
It's going to take a lot of muscle, and that is a 2 more card draws available and 3 extra health on the War Mast stage if they want. So can continue to develop and draw. And when you can do both of those things, that's the question to ask yourself is how often do you need to spend your cards in order to affect the board state? Well, the following turn, they'd have Twilight Well plus Blackwing Corruptor to follow that. And really, any way you slice it, their plays are strong. I mean, they could make probably the weakest play of the ones available. As long as they're doing something, it's probably enough.
Yeah. They do have to debate, well, will we have time to spend our mana? And is it even necessary for us to spend our mana? And
looking at a trade, it looks like. Yeah, I like this. This soaks up that extra 1/1 that don't necessarily need there. I mean, they've drawn plenty of cards in order to win the value game at this point.
Even a Shadow or Death picked up, which can deal with a Blackwing Corruptor, second Draconid Operative, Deathwing. I think we're all in this Twilight Drake.
That's what it looks like to me.
Get that sucker rolling.
You know, what's it worth choking out a card draw right now with Blackwing Corruptor? I don't know, but let's see what they think.
I would maybe do it.
Yeah, I would do it as well.
I think we should think about how much the agent does with the Corruptor in hand, but I think we should shield it as well. Don't think we need the agent yet.
I must consider.
You can also corrupt your powered shield, but it's too weak, right?
Yeah, he will have deaths soon.
I don't know, he didn't have death, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, we also drew 3 cards, right? Since then.
Yeah, let's go for the dragon.
Yeah.
And we're only killing a 1/3. It's a Corruptor. Like this more.
I mean, we can just heal our guy and play Twilight Guardian.
We can clear it.
We can kill it.
3, 6.
It's a little bit scary because like health buff guys on it.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, I don't hate clearing it.
I honestly want to clear it. Like a free one is still like kind of annoying for him to deal with, and we get to develop a Twilight Whelp as well.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Let's go for it here.
Yeah,
Also,
and our
it's pretty
guy.
aggressive. They don't have AoE, it's just like 100% to win.
Yeah, and our guy doesn't die, so that's.
I must consider.
I wield the power, Black.
Yeah, but we still have our time to clear this, right?
This is a pretty good Corruptor, is it not?
It's good, it's good.
I think we should do it. And the more cards we're seeing from them, the less it seems like they are having the potion. This is a pretty generic list so far with the Drake.
Yeah, we should just corrupt the free one, right?
Yeah, I guess it's fine.
And we also play the taunt, right?
Yeah, we need to inflict damage on his minions so we can...
I mean, you're setting up pretty much for the Drake Holy no matter.
Yeah, exactly.
We could maybe even get another Holy Novas and get 4 damage, maybe?
We only have 1.
But we can steal.
Well, lots of debate going on there in complexity, but it's healthy debating. Their spirits are high because they're up 5-1. Maybe not going so well in this game, but
honestly, the fact that they're even in it is kind of surprising to me.
Yeah.
Alliance, I mean, they're quickly closing in on ending it with the Bran and Twilight Drake threat this turn, but still plenty of options available to them. And so it's just a matter of what's the cleanest way to do this.
There's always the potential.
It's tough to really play as strong as you possibly can when you just have as many options as they do.
Yeah.
So many strong lines, and it looks like every step of the way they've been concerned with checking the board state. Which is wise. I mean, resource control is one of the ways that this deck maintains an advantage and continues to build a bigger one. When you're the one dictating the trades, it's difficult for your opponent to recover that.
All right, well, they make the trade here with the Twilight. Well, keeping their North Share Cleric alive is the choice. Want to keep getting that value. compLexity once again behind on the board, but maybe with some options. Dragonid Operative, maybe Dragonfire Potion in the deck still. We don't know. Alliance hasn't given us any information in their listen-ins to tell us otherwise.
I'd be surprised to see it.
Yeah.
It's just a pretty weak card. It kills a lot of your own minions. Holy Nova just tends to be better because of the value options it presents. It can act as a closer rather than a recovery card.
Yeah.
And in a lot of situations, its recovery is still very strong. So I think to hedge your bets against that.
Oh, I thought that was a Dragonfire Potion. I saw the spell animation and saw the N. And I was like, oh, that's Potion.
It is Bookworm, though. So you heard Orange say that he doesn't think that many Dragon Priests are playing Bookworm anymore, but they have it in their build.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty valuable information for compLexity if they can't pick up this game.
Doesn't really give them much hope towards, well, maybe they have bad cards still left in their deck, because Shadow Orb, Worm Message, and Bookworm are, even though could be good value, not the
highest. All the good cards are in their hand.
That's true.
Just sacrificing more value. I mean, they just don't have an option. They have to make sacrifices in order to keep the board state from getting completely out of hand and just hope that they can recover it. But the Azure Drake Holy Nova turn that they've planned, it doesn't look like it's anywhere near.
Let's take a listen into Alliance to see what they're debating going into this turn.
I mean, they would have used death if they had it, right? So, I mean, it's pretty likely that we get a death.
I think I like starting with
Death Operative?
Yeah, start with Operative.
Yeah, I think so.
We don't want a Brand Operative?
No, I think we want. I don't think we want to.
I think we can try to push this advantage right now.
Yeah. We have another one, so yeah. You just take the death.
Yeah, take the. Play the one we have.
Which one do I play?
The one we have.
Yeah, the one we have.
Yeah.
And do I trade or face?
I think you go face.
No, I think you trade. Trade. As long as you don't move forward with one.
We win either way, so. What's the 2-3 guy do? It doesn't trade into anything.
Yeah, could be just be comparing two 100% lines at this point.
Can we hope for Deathwing, maybe?
Oh, Deathwing. We played.
We definitely play. Yes, yes. He did use a death, right? I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like it's so.
What about Onyx? No.
Onyxia is definitely too slow. You are dying.
Guys, just look at it.
Yeah, Deathwing and a lot.
It's only Deathwing that makes any sense, right?
He's the power reincarnated.
Yeah. He used the death after picking the operative. If we can bait out another death, right, that would be the
Yeah, we have the operative chill. This is gonna be on the edge.
What about just trade into its 1-3, go face with the other 2 ones, and just drag.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Then trade the Draconid Operative into 1-3, I think.
No, the other way around. You would trade the 5-4.
Then if Azure Drake, if there's Azure Drake Holy Nova.
Wait, why? Why are we not killing it?
Huh?
I mean, we could just kill the 5-4. And
Oh yeah, we could just kill the 5-4 heal and play like Brand Twilight Drake or something.
no, you can still play Rag. You can still play Rag.
Oh, you mean like sure.
What?
I mean, it doesn't really matter what you do.
Double trade Rag?
Just play
Yeah, the double trade Rag, I guess.
Just play something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nova stuff. It's not really that good.
Yeah, I should raise Nova here.
Well, it's a Hail Mary. They got the pass off, but there's a Shadow Word Death in Alliance's hand, so
Yeah.
Deathwing is definitely intercepted if they choose to go with that. They're going to go with Azure Drake Holy Nova.
I mean, you could hear Osaka mention it as the comms were fading away for Alliance, so they thought about the possibility of it right at the end. I mean, again, Osaka mentioned also, we're probably just debating a couple of 100% lines, meaning we're probably just debating 2 plays that win the game 100% of the time. So they still have that value game. I can imagine they're never going to use that Shadow Word Death until they see what came out of that Netherspite Historian, just because of the risk of Deathwing, or even just a big dragon in general.
The longer it sits there, the more likely it is that it's Deathwing too.
Yeah.
So the fact that it wasn't played last turn, or that it's probably not going to get played next turn unless the board position is so huge. If it gets played next turn, obviously they death and they win. If it doesn't get played, they probably just hold on to the death, and as a result, win. This is about as clean cut as it gets, and about as slow as a win that the close can be, because Priest, it does a great job of choking out those resources. It often wins the game before the final damage still.
Yeah. So it looks like Alliance just going to go with playing a bunch of powerful stuff.
Play a bunch of powerful stuff.
And a Twilight Whelp. Base the place.
And no clear available on that Ragnaros. This is the last hurrah. It has to be Deathwing. Well, it doesn't have to be. I mean, they could technically heal and stay alive. Let's find out how they want to tackle it.
We can get a 50-50, right?
I wonder.
What do you mean?
They will have a 50-50 for lethal, right? If we don't go Deathwing.
No, it's not like this here. We can also play both Talent Priests. What do you mean?
Play both Talent Priests? Sure.
If you play Deathwing, we can't go for 50-50 lethal. What do you mean? Everything dies.
Yeah,
No, I mean if we don't play Deathwing, but I guess we can actually minimize it with the Talent Priests. Let's just go for that.
You wish to live forever. You wish to live forever.
This is definitely the best play we have.
Yeah, so we have a 50-50.
Yeah.
Bookworm the 3/7.
Guardian or Netherspite heal?
No, I definitely like
Guardian.
Twilight Guardian, considering we have
Yeah,
Bran.
we have Bran.
Yeah.
Let reading drag live.
No, we didn't hit the 50-50 button right. Unlucky. Damn it.
Superpower.
So if he doesn't have this, we are in a good situation, but...
Or do we go Azure Drake?
I would Azure Drake.
He's used both pains, like, no, we definitely...
It doesn't matter.
Just go Bran Netherspite.
Okay, go Bran.
So what's left in his deck? I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter, but what's left in his deck?
Like, nothing that can kill Bran. Nothing that can kill Bran. He's used both pains. Nothing that can kill Bran, so you play Bran.
What if he plays Azure Drake into something from the top?
Yeah, but he can't kill the Bran! So why would we not play Bran? He can never kill the Bran.
I like killing my opponents.
You just BM him?
No.
No, you pain. You're death. You...
BM him. We're currently 1-5. I don't think we're really that spot where we should BM our opponents. And it wouldn't look very good on us.
Well,
you can silence the brand.
Yeah. That's one way you can deal with it. Can't kill it, but can deal with it. Osaka trying for some alternative strategies with
So like alternative facts.
Close.
Yeah.
Close. But saying, well, maybe we should BM then by either emoting or going with the Dragon and Crusher and letting them hit your face
Yeah,
for
I
12.
think the idea was to not kill the Deathwing that turn. I'm actually a little bit surprised compLexity didn't concede on the spot there. But I mean, that's just done like dinner.
Yeah,
I did like JJ's reaction to the Deathwing though. That was great.
He is quite animated, and they need Shadow or Death or bust. Azure Drake, Shadow or Death or bust. Another Spud Historian. Nope.
Shadow or Death.
Shadow or Death or bust. Okay. Well, Dragon Priest games, even when they're over, can take a long, long time for the game to finish it out. And there was a tiny ray of hope that was given to compLexity early that kept them in the game for a long time. But at the end of the day, Alliance comes out on top, brings the series to 5-2 in score.
And you heard the mention of Orange saying that they wanted Shadow or Death from the Draken and Operative they used early.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very much one of the reasons why. I mean, Netherspite Historian can change the course of the game, but having the check to that was paramount in that situation. There's a chance they might have lost if they didn't have a Shadow or Death there. So on their last leg, Alliance still alive, picks up their second win. They need 4 more wins with Priest in a row to close this set. Meanwhile, compLexity, match point.
Yeah, match point for them, and they still have Mage, Warrior, Druid, and Warlock remaining, of which they can choose any one of those 4 decks. So what do you think is coming out next? I'm thinking Warrior. Warrior with the weapons can tend to have some a decent early game against the Dragon Priest.
I think for me, the only thing to consider is, do you want more information? If that's the case, which deck is most paramount to have that information with? Queue up that deck last. And the rest of the time, I don't think it matters what order because you just have to win with one of these 4. Now, the other thing to consider is tiebreakers at the end.
Yes.
So their game score does matter in that situation, but is that going to play a big role? That's really the other question there. So there's 2 sides of it. Both of them are pretty long shots to be of relevant condition, I'd say. So as far as I'm concerned, queue up the strongest build.
It's also starting to get late in Europe. So sleep is also a consideration.
No.
Yeah, I guess.
No, people don't need sleep.
It's like 9 p.m.
That's a myth.
They're gamers. They could stay up late.
I'm a gamer.
I'm a gamer.
I go to bed like 9:30 though. I'm like an old dude now.
Me too. Feels bad, man.
I think it feels pretty good.
Ain't a Turtles card game anymore, admirable.
I'm starting to pick up like old people hobbies and stuff too.
Like coin collecting?
Yeah, I started coin collecting recently, and that's when I officially became an old dude.
Arthritis.
Another big hobby of mine. Yeah. Gaming helps it though. It keeps my hands nice and strong. I bought one of those hand strengthener gripper things too. I don't actually know what you call them.
An orange.
Yes, an orange. I bought an orange. It just sits on my desk, and I use it to strengthen my grip.
Me too.
The morale, though, from Alliance starting to pick up a little bit. It seems when they start to get a win, they start to have a lot more fun. And I think that's an important facet for these 3 guys because they've seemed to be, I don't want to say argumentative, but right on the brink of argumentative in some of these discussions. And if they can keep a cool head and remember to keep going strong, that's important. I mean, even on the turn they had Shadow or Death on Deathwing, they took their time, kept everything in check, sequenced the turn, then make the plays.
Thought about the BM, realized, guys, we're down 5-1 right now. Probably not the best idea.
Would be memorable.
Good choice. Would be memorable. But as the players deliberate a little bit on what their deck, oh, look, looks like we're ready. So compLexity goes with the Warlock. So this and the Warrior, probably their 2 best matchups. Warlock probably the best. So we'll see if they can overcome and close out the series. Possible match point for compLexity would put them at 2-0 on the season. A great start to the Trinity Series. Whereas Alliance, after losing their first week 6-0, 6-2 would be a little bit better, but I'm sure they want to keep themselves in this match.
Yeah, it's really important for them to be picking up this win. I mean, week 2 is going to set the tone for the rest of the tournament, where if you drop down 0-2 right now, it is clutch time very early on. And the more time you have to clutch means the more room there is for error.
Yeah. A decent early hand for Alliance. We'll see what they pitch away. And it looks like it's just the Powered Shield. And that's a curve. So I can imagine compLexity just going to hold on to the Doomsayer, pitch the other two, try and find some threats.
Yeah, Ooze and Mortal Coil not really offering any potential value in this matchup. They're very much looking for Twilight Drake, and Mountain Giant certainly an important card as well. But Doomsayer represents a lot of value. So if they can land a strong Doomsayer here and then follow up, that's one of the keys they're looking for. So this matchup is all about whether or not compLexity can get control of the board. If they can get control of the board, Alliance is going to have trouble. But if Alliance can generate too much value, it means compLexity has to use all of their resources to stay in the game.
Yep. And also, one other thing to point out is Alliance definitely going to be looking for some way to deal with an early Doomsayer, because that, you mentioned the board. Board is the key. compLexity, in their win against Alliance's Reno Lock, had the Cabal Songstealer to deal with the Doomsayer when Alliance got greedy and didn't even play till turn 4. So that's going to be what Alliance is trying to dodge, or if they're trying to find Shadow of Pain. Let's hear their thoughts.
It's the wrong one.
Very mistaken.
Are you mocking me?
Hit him in the face. Hit him in the face.
Have options? Yes, I see that as well. So if you don't play Doomsayer now, they can bird it and then coin Corruptor or something, right?
Yeah.
Probably Doomsayer now, like...
I think I like it because we don't have a 4-drop anyways.
Yep.
I would like to stop them this turn.
Yeah, I like it. And then we can just snowball, we can like go tap into Peddler.
Is it ever, it's never Shadow Bowl into tap Doom, no, because Shadow Bowl is pretty good.
Shadow Bowl is actually pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Do we explain that?
I mean, we never don't do anything, right?
Yeah, it's either, I mean, it's pin, and either we coin or we hold, and I probably think we hold.
I think we hold too.
I think we go coin Draken in next turn.
I wonder.
Most likely, yeah.
I mean, this kind of sets up for Twilight Guardian, right?
Yeah, but then if we just coin Operative, that's a pretty good
Yeah, that's why.
counter.
That's why we hold. That's why we hold.
Nice.
It could go Kazakus into AoE, and then you can clear our Guardian as well.
Yeah, maybe we can see that next turn. If he goes Kazakus, maybe.
No, not their Operative. If they go Kazakus, they cannot really clear our Operative if we coin it out.
Yeah, not the Operative.
Yeah, we go Pain. We go Pain.
I don't know how big of a deal is it.
Lots of debate there over the Shadowward Pain. We were talking about a little bit. Shadowward Pain, there's so many targets in Reno Lock. Even though protecting a 2-4 may not seem like the best play, the board really does matter. And again, no real great pain targets.
Right. That's really the big key to it as well. And plus the 2-4 is a pretty big annoyance. I mean, there's not really a strong way to deal with a 2-4. It just keeps chipping away for 2 damage. So not only does that pain buy them that, but it's also the future damage that it buys. So every single time that happens, it means that Draconid Operative can't be attacked as effectively if it's still there. It would mean that Twilight Guardian is going to reinforce that board position. A lot of stuff is happening as you protect that 2-4. And again, just no strong pain targets really in the Reno build.
Speaking of Shadowward Pain,
there's another one. Plus they have Bookworm as well. So
oh yeah, that's true.
It's not really a waste of a Shadowward Pain here because they have redundancy of that effect. As at the same time, the extra damage. It's just everything spells the Shadowward Pain. You and I were looking at Netherspite Historian as that turn went by, and as I heard them talking about the Shadowward Pain, what I realized is that damage builds up. That can force a Reno at some point. Forcing the Reno means that you just get to jam all the damage to face, then figure out what you want to do. Post-Reno damage is very important in the matchup.
Yeah, that PR damage. Post-Reno.
The public relations damage.
Yep.
Something that I often suffer from anytime that I say gosh or huge.
It's actually a shame because the damage that happens before Reno is also PR. It's pre-Reno. So both is PR damage.
Wow.
Very confusing.
That's a tough one.
Hit him with the dirty rat.
Honestly, all three of these have merit, and for very different reasons. They just don't have the time to think about that long enough, and so they just take the strongest value card.
Yep.
That's there.
Well,
Can't blame him for that.
While Dirty Rat can get a lot of value, it's also, rather inconsistent, I suppose. But let's go ahead and listen into compLexity. Not too many great options for them.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's probably tap and then fast here.
Let's tap first, guys.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Probably the second rate booster will cost 3 next turn.
Yeah.
We need to find Twisting, Shadow Flame.
Honestly, we could do that.
Because... why?
If we don't deliver him a target for Blackwing Corruptor, we kill the 2/2, and the operative gets killed by Bolt if he plays into the board.
Wait, if he Blackwing Corruptors, then we can Demon Ross into Shadow Bolt?
What?
Yeah, but then there's still the 5/4, right? Or the 5/2 left.
I think the Demon Ruff is actually okay because we deny him another big threat.
Yeah, we can always Shadow Bolt the Blackwing anyways.
Yeah.
I think I simply like it on this turn.
So Nether's fight first and then 3-5.
You don't want to heal?
Yeah, but I like Blackwing Technician heal.
4 mana.
When you think about the cards that they have, Shadow Bolt, Soulfire, and
I like it.
Yeah, it's
they still have the Peddler card as well.
Yeah, I like it.
My work is paramount.
And it sets up so that we can always play, like, see, even if they play Emperor this...
Yep.
We play Mistress Tap first, right? How is it?
Mistress Tab and most likely Fascia.
Yeah, let's just go for Mistress Tap first, see what we get.
Let's think a bit more.
It's never the second rate Bruiser and Mistress. It kind of sets up for an Enforcer, I guess.
I see what you're saying. But the Bruiser will be more... doesn't...
Yeah, but then we can bold it. If he heals the 5/6, right? Then we can bold it.
The Farseer does it as well, right?
Yeah, but the Farseer that gets dealt with. The second rate Bruiser is 4 attack.
I like Mistress Tab Fascia, but I'm not sure what you guys think.
Do you think, JJ?
Almost out of time.
It's close. You can do this.
I think I'm gonna go with the Bruiser, guys.
Okay.
I'm not red.
Side effects.
It's definitely close.
Trust me.
It's very close.
Tie goes to the pilot, I guess, for compLexity. He's piled in the deck, so he makes the final decision. Goes with the second rate Bruiser and Mistress of Mixtures.
Yeah, he's the pilot. Mr. U gets the aeronaut. Super JJ's the captain.
That's correct.
Honestly, I'm curious how strong the Reno would have been this turn. You're not getting a lot of value from the Reno, but the thing you are getting is a 4/6 body. So if Alliance wants to take care of that, it requires either something from hand or multiple attacks. And if they attack multiple times, it sets up the Abyssal Enforcer. And then if they don't do that, it means you could sometimes land Defender of Argus, and you have a Abusive Sarge in your hand. I'm curious if maybe that's just an oversight, because I heard no discussion on that. And there's always merit to holding Reno. It's a tremendous value card. But this turn is so good for Alliance, jamming down this Emperor Thorson. So they kind of have a position where it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Either way, you're running into something strong.
compLexity, they picked up a Hellfire, would have been a pretty decent clear for them, but only the Abyssal Enforcer in the hand, and that leaves the Emperor Thorsan up for another turn. Could potentially even be 2 more turns if there's a Shadow or Death in hand, because it's incredibly vulnerable to Shadow or Death.
The Enforcer is definitely it's a force play here from Alliance. The Emperor is just threatening too much, so they get 2 ticks of Emperor and get to debate how they want to play this hand. I mean, they have a wealth of options available to them, and their draws are very strong right now. Almost every single one of their draws is going to present value, and as soon as they pick up Brand, they're able to reload with more dragons thanks to the Netherspite Historian. So a very important hold for them on that one, and just using the heal and the Draconid Operative. That was super important on the turn that happened on. I believe it was turn 5.
Yeah.
They coined it out on turn 4. So Shadow Word Death, not really strong Shadow Word Death targets in the matchup either, especially at this stage of the game.
You wish to live.
Just continue to keep the Emperor outside of Shadow Bolt range, which I'm guessing is their read. Stay strong.
Free Shadow Word Pain, free Netherspite Historian, 6 mana Ragnaros the Fire Lord, 2 mana Twilight Guardian, and an Imp Gang Boss in a Pear Tree. But let's listen into compLexity to see what they're thinking about.
Reno?
Depends.
Reno gives us time to faceless the Drake next turn, right? What's the other line? The other line is to Shadow Bolt and so.
The other line is Farseer Gangboss or Farseer Shadow.
I don't like it. I think I like the Reno this turn.
Yeah, I think I like the Reno as well.
Okay, I can see it.
Do you know if it's 100%?
So we go Netherspite, right?
I guess the turns should start from Netherspite, yeah.
I mean, the question is, do we ever
One thing is
play
MC
around...
Tech.
Yeah, do we ever play around MC Tech?
Consider they haven't played things. Did we see MC Tech last week?
No,
Even
not
then,
in the round, but...
Even then, we'd probably just heal our Emperor over Twilight Guardian, so we still don't play into it.
Yeah.
Once upon a time.
Draken is pretty good.
Is that good?
Alex Strauss is pretty good.
Alex is
all of them are pretty good.
All of these are really good. Jesus Christ.
The good thing about Draconid is that turn.
I think I like Alex. I like Alex.
Yeah.
And then kill Reno.
Trade.
Play back.
No.
No, use Twilight Guardian. Or
no,
nothing.
We could play Twilight.
Yeah.
Look, they're so cheap, but he's like, he doesn't want to overcommit either, right?
Should we just go for it, or how is it?
So how big is it?
Oh, we have 10 cards in hand, right? So we simply have to go for it.
Guys, it's insane.
I mean, it's insane. We just do it.
Yeah.
Just what the doctor ordered, right?
The doctor, 2 super dragons.
Well, compLexity presenting some pretty big threats, both at the 4 attack mark. Maybe starting to mount a comeback here. If they can pick up some type of huge board sweep, especially with Dirty Rat, they might be able to start coming back in this game.
Dirty Rat, honestly, is a pretty key pickup because Alex Straza was selected for Alliance. They had 2 value options, and honestly, they're getting outvalued right now. The Emperor Thorson on board should already give them the pressure in terms of closing. So if they can't close with the Emperor Thorson living turn after turn after turn, to me, that says threat and value. compLexity clearly doesn't have a way to answer the Emperor board position. So the Ysera on this turn would have been potentially brutal. compLexity would have had to draw something to take care of it or expend resources.
Yeah.
Even Draconid Operative would have been a way to get value here. They went for Alex Straza on the close, and I'm not saying that's a bad idea, but this could come back to haunt them.
Well, we'll see. Wow. Their board is incredibly vulnerable. They missed the damage! Oh, no. Not that big of a deal.
It could be a big deal. This is Dragon Priest. I mean, they don't have burst from hand. It's board pressure. So anytime that compLexity can find a line where maybe they live at 1 life, that could easily keep them alive.
Yeah, so Bran picked up. So Bran, Earthen Ring Farseer, Defender of Argus could be a possibility. It would make the Twilight Drake vulnerable.
Looking at the Imp Gang boss here too, because something that they noted was they could have Abusive Sergeanted the Twilight Drake last turn and made a 6/10 taunt, and they chose not to do that in fear of Shadow Word Death. And if that's the case, I think you continue to play around that.
Yeah, that's true. So I could Bran, Imp Gang Boss, Defender Vargas, the Imp Gang Boss, and the Brand to make 2 4/6 taunts and keep their Twilight Drake alive. So they'd have a 4/7 and 2 4/6 taunts, staring down an 8/8, a 5/1, and a 1.
Having that 1/1 on the board last turn ended up being really important here too. They would have been able to kill the Emperor if they had simply played the Abusive Sergeant. Man, some little things are making the biggest impacts in this series thus far.
Yeah.
And soak damage is the goal of this. Orshire Cleric.
Get them closer to something. But at this point, they're starting to lose a little bit of handle on the board. And compLexity still has some high power cards left in their deck. I think the biggest limiting factor right now is their health total.
Yeah.
Just because it feels like Alliance is going to start major pressure. But let's take a listen into Alliance to see what they're formulating.
The Northstar for sure?
Yeah.
Yes.
We always have mana for everything else.
I think.
Yeah, we have mana for everything.
We can still Twilight Drake. Yeah.
We do what?
Okay, so now we Twilight Drake, send both into Bran and Rag Pain.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
I think it's committing too much, honestly.
Yeah, then we could play
Maybe it is.
Bookworm.
Yeah, we could just play Twilight Drake Bookworm.
Oh, no, we can't. What the fuck?
No, pain. Or just do whatever, I don't know.
Guys, come on. Oh. Yeah. Obviously it's the order, yeah. Yeah, we played. Oh my god.
Hello?
Shit.
Did you guys say the order the other way? Because I think...
No, for 10, what? 10.
You don't want a 10?
I would maybe do a 5 if you get the 5 damage potion.
You agree, Jago, 5?
I'm not sure.
I like the 5, guys. If you get 5 damage and health, it's insane, something like this.
7 armor. We should do the sheep. Right?
Yeah, but when can we still kill the Alex? Yeah, we should do.
I don't see it again, by the way.
And the 5
damage.
5 damage. Yeah, so we trade the Twilight Drake into the Cleric.
Yeah.
Traded the one. Yeah.
No, just 5 damage.
5 damage on that one.
Yeah.
And sheep the Alex. Finally, we got the board.
Traded.
Nah, yeah, we got the board. It's all good. That's all we needed, right?
Yeah.
Yep. No, it's good.
So we can nether fight Bookworm Rag. It's
Yeah,
really
that's
good.
pretty good. Yeah, that's good.
Once upon a time.
That's what we always wanted. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
the
take.
opportunity. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 more dragons in our deck. So it's pretty likely that we draw.
And 2 Power Word Shields and a Northshire, so.
Yeah, I mean it's
So
pretty likely.
operative, but we don't play it.
Yeah, we don't play it. We play the other 2, right?
Yeah, we still Bookworm Rag here, it's too good.
Yeah.
Let reading drag live.
I mean, he just took a 5 mana polymorph.
And this is getting really close. Alliance with that blunder on the last turn, not really getting many abilities off, many of those spells off. It's starting to look grim. compLexity does have a way to deal with this Rag with Leroy plus Abusive Sergeant. If they can get past this point, they might be able to bring it home.
The thing about the Bookworm was they didn't have another dragon in hand.
Yeah.
In order to activate it. So that play fell apart after they'd already formulated it. So the oversight amidst the panic that Alliance is facing right now, I mean, they're starting to lose the board position. The Alexstrasza, while it definitely dealt 15 damage, they feel the pressure of losing value. If they don't draw a dragon next turn, Operative is just, like, what's it going to do?
Still a 5/6.
Twisting Nether gets drawn. That is huge for compLexity, wiping out 12 power
Now, Power Word Shield picked up. No minions on board to use it. That Draconid Operative is stranded in the hand.
This is bad news for Alliance. The lack of value is costing them at this point. They went aggressive with the Alex Straza stance, and they didn't follow up.
This is brutal. compLexity, there's a potential they don't have Draxus. We have not seen it yet. And that's sort of their way to close this game out. But let's go ahead and listen into compLexity to see what type of game plan they're formulating to close out this game.
Oh, it's insane. It's insane, guys. They just bricked. So I would assume the card in the hand
is what?
Shadow of Death.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Or Holy Nova, maybe.
No, I think it's Shadow of Death. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I didn't draw a card, lol. Guys, we have bad news for you. We still have drugs. You want to tap probably or what? You need to find your access, guys.
Yeah, I think tap is fine. What do you think, Crane?
Yeah, I also like the tap.
What about a Dirty Rat here? It didn't seem like he had a dragon in hand last turn.
Okay, what if he top decked the dragon?
Is it not a bit of an unnecessary risk? I mean, if we just go double heal here, we have...
I have one question to you. What dragon is a problem? We have the operators are gone.
This is true.
He used 2 pains and bookworm as well. So he probably doesn't have...
Maybe what makes sense is it I think it's an Azure Drake.
Let's try the Dirty Rat, right?
Yeah.
And if it's the Azure Drake, do we Shadow Bolt fast here? Oh, now we just Emperor, right?
Yeah, very just Emperor.
Yeah.
He used both pains in the bookworm, that's why I would like to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry.
Alliance, they're in trouble.
This is a series of unfortunate events, which was a great series that I watched recently, by the way. I really recommend it.
Not this one. Not this series of unfortunate events.
No, I do recommend you watch this. This one's been great.
Shield your eyes for a few moments 2 turns ago if you rewatch. But other than that, yes, it's been a fantastic series. And Alliance communication issues, maybe overlooking things. I don't know. There's been a lot of things within their team dynamic that has, I feel like it has caused a little bit of their struggle. But compLexity now, they should have been in a lot of trouble. And they're still in a little bit of trouble, but it looks like they've turned that corner. They got plenty of heal in their hand. We even heard them mention that they have Draxus in the deck, which is the ultimate, tool for defeating the priest, for finally delivering those killing blows to the priest.
I'm not sure they're in any trouble anymore. Alliances, their card economy has fell to nothing at this point, and compLexity has multiple ways to swing the board if they want to, as well as an Emperor ticking away. This game is about as close to checkmate as you could possibly imagine. And heal in the hand to boot. Where does compLexity lose at this point? That's got to be their question.
Still a Siphon Soul in the deck for compLexity. So not even a Deathwing.
Not even a Deathwing. Honestly, they could just clear Deathwing too.
Leroy, power-overwhelming, abusive sergeant. 12 damage, perfect. Line it up.
At least he has chicken.
Amen.
Namaste. Yeah, their hand is so good. They're just trying to find a way to most efficiently close at this point. They want to check every single corner. They want to dot all their I's, cross all their T's.
The Shadow Bolt onto the Draconid Operative. I don't know if they want to risk leaving that up. I mean, I guess it's not really too much of a risk. They're at 16 with a Drax still in the deck, so they're just going to push face. They do have a lot of damage in their hand. They have 12 from the Leroy, plus an additional 4 from the Hell, 3 from the Hellfire. So it's 15 from hand that they have. They can fit all into one turn.
Well, maybe.
Shadow or Death. That's a bit of a punish. Let's go ahead and listen into Alliance and see if they have any hope of finishing this game.
Actually, Death here.
Would you just like to attack Emperor Nova and leave the refreshment vendor on board?
Yeah, I mean, that seems okay.
I'm kind of tempted to just like clear his board. Maybe that's incorrect, considering he has like Mountain Giant left.
I must consider.
So what AoE does he have left? Does he have like Abyssal and stuff?
He has Hellfire left, his Shadow Flame left.
Yeah, Hellfire.
I think I want to use the death. I think I would use it.
Yeah, I also want to use the death.
Are we clear full, right?
Yeah.
And heal which one?
Heal Burmist.
Yes.
He hasn't used Coil yet. So.
Yeah, Sylvanas has arrived. We can tap or what?
We can Hellfire, Shadow Bolt, Sylvanas.
Yeah.
I like that more.
And both deaths are out, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they can't even play anything.
Yeah.
And we can lose as well.
Yeah. You lose.
Sneaky.
I have no time for games.
I don't really know what's sneaky about that play.
The ooze.
Oh, okay.
It's a sneaky ooze. Zero mana?
Sure. Sneak him in there. All right. Well, Azure Drake can pick them up some gas.
This is donezo. That Sylvanas that's the close.
Yeah.
I mean, look how much damage they have. That's a lot of damage.
8 on board, 12 from hand. Got 20 damage at the moment. Still Faceless left in the deck, which would mean 24 damage from hand. So even if, yeah, Faceless would be lethal damage, can still pick up the Faceless with the Mortal Coil or the tap.
Yeah,
Could Mortal Coil and tap.
Yeah. I mean, how many cards? They have like 6 cards left, 5 cards left, maybe?
Not very many. We know there's Draxus, most likely a Faceless.
Oh, there's definitely a Faceless Manipulator. You're not playing Leroy without, without the Faceless Manipulator. Though I have seen some interesting tech choices in the Leroy slot. I want to talk about that later on, but no, I don't want to give any spoiler alerts.
4 cards left.
So it's a 25% chance for lethal. No, it's a 50% chance for lethal then. Mountain Giant, Jiraxis, Faceless Manipulator, X. What's the X we haven't seen? Siphon.
Siphon, yeah. All right.
That's lethal.
There it is. Wait, right? Yeah.
What? I guess, I mean, this is still basically lethal. That's a weird one. Oh, they didn't. No, they did have the mana for it, didn't they?
Yeah.
They had 24 from hand, right? No. Either way, let's hear what compLexity has to say.
Train, are you getting old?
We're playing on NA.
I see.
I'm not gonna have a lag spike killing
so
all around to win.
So you're playing an A, so the displays are actually okay.
Sure.
I can already see a shaky hand.
I mean, I had to argue with you about how to make the Sylvanas steal because you counted 3 as 4, right?
Yeah, actually, it was you, the name player.
I'm just trolling you. It's fine, GG's.
Yeah. I'll play, guys. Another good week.
So the only EU players you're good fits good.
Sure.
Yeah.
GG's, guys.
Yeah, good week. There was only the one city missing.
All right, well, compLexity takes the series A little bit of a blunder at the end, but they realized it right away.
Yeah.
Crane blaming it on Super JJ. That was funny, but a well-played day overall for complexity, I'd say.
Yeah, aside from the, of course, very last play, it doesn't really matter how they cut the cards at that point. They're coming away with the win, but they mentioned, I mean, they're playing on NA, so they have to play it that way. Just want to point out, you and I spotted that play a little bit immediately. I'm just saying, but 6-2 over Alliance. 3 wins with the Murloc Paladin was just enormous in this match.
Yeah, so, multiple advantages to winning fast like that. You concealed deck information. Maybe you had a secret deck that was supposed to counter this type of meta that you were able to conceal going into the future weeks. Also, you limit your opponents to a lower game score, which means that, later on, if there's tiebreakers towards the end of the season, if Alliance mounts a comeback, ties complexity at the end, all of a sudden they have a larger game score than Alliance. So definitely a impressive day for complexity. Alliance, though, back to the drawing board for them. They did get 2 more wins this week than they did last week, but still struggling against Murloc Paladin, maybe struggling a little bit with team communication, but complexity on fire.
Yeah, team communication, I think, was a big key in this one. We saw them make a few missteps here and there because the communication's not spot on. Someone is missing something, and then everyone buys on the board just because they hear the opinion come out. The other thing to think about, though, is they've been pretty unlucky. Their opening 3 or 4 games, not the greatest of draws. They managed to win the Reno Mage game, but it was really tough.
All right, well, we do have a winner's interview with a player from the winning team. It's Crane from complexity. What's up, man? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm hearing you fine.
So 2 wins in a row now. You guys start off the season 2-0. How did it feel today? Did you guys I feel like you even improved more so than last week?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're just getting used to the format and getting used to, working as a team. So, yeah, it's good. Good stuff.
You guys talked quite a bit more today than you did in the last week. Did you guys sort of, develop a strategy for how you communicate? Did you give roles to each individual player? How did you handle the communication?
Actually, we made roles for the first week, which is a way to ease into it. And that's also why maybe in the beginning we held back a bit, because we didn't want to, be in a situation where we're talking too much and disrupting turns. And then eventually, you can talk more and more as you get used to how it works with each other. So yeah, just natural flow.
We saw tech choices make a big difference in this matchup. The Cabal Song Stealer, namely in the Priest deck. Are there a few other choices that you think could fit in that slot, or do you think that the ban on Shaman means that you can alleviate your pressure on aggro?
Yes, there are other things that you can put in that slot. But yes, the fact that you're banning 2 patches decks in most cases makes for a lot of, you can do a lot of changes like this, and you also have to counter what the other guys are changing their decks. So cards like Sylvanas can really punish Priest. So yeah, we figured, the Cabal was reasonable.
All right, so we've seen we've seen a full week of play, and now you guys have started off this week. We're sort of seeing the same general strategies out of players, opening up with Murloc Paladins, popular choice, since, the decks that it gets countered by are out of the question. Are we going to see new strategies anytime soon, you think, now that the meta for the Trinity Series is starting to settle?
Yes, 100%. And first of all, I think that at some point somebody will break the trend, and then it's because they've broken the trend, you're gonna have to follow suit at some point. If somebody gets ballsy and they open with whatever counters Murloc Paladin in the first one, suddenly a lot of things change. So, and even deck maybe bringing different decks can change it a lot. So yeah, everything is completely open, and it just takes 1 week with sort of enough changes to change everything.
All right, man. Well, thanks so much. Congratulations on your win. We'll see if you guys can go 3-0 in your matches next week. Thanks.
Thanks.